Okay, hey guys. I know it's been a minute. Sharmain, I obviously got to check StreamYard because it's obviously not kicking in. So I'm going to check that in just a second here.
Oh,
But, anyways, I know it's been about 6 weeks since I did a live. And Sharmain, she's back from her vacation.
mhm.
And during that time, I became a grandma, apparently, that I found out.
Awesome.
Yep, that was news to me. I didn't even know that my son had a girlfriend, let alone a pregnant one at that. But anyway, so I'm a happy grandma now.
It's
uh,
awesome that he told you. I'm so happy that he told you. That's
yes.
huge.
Yeah, and her name is Thalia. 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 Well, yeah, because so I was just put a little bit of premise to this, but so I was at work and in the office on that particular day, and all of a sudden I see this message coming from my son with Thalia Lauren, which is his middle name, and then of course his last name, and I'm like, wait, what? What is? So then I open up the message and I see this picture of this little baby, and I'm like, you have a child? And he's like, yes. So he told me on the 15th, she was born on the 14th. And so I'm not going to lie. Um, in the midst of working, I asked if I could go for my break because I was welling up with happiness and I was welling up with sadness. Sadness that my son never even told me about this girlfriend, let alone that he had a pregnant girlfriend, and her name is Grace. Um, and so I was like, go, I had a lot to do that day. Hi, guys. Yes. Miss Dog Lover, 32 months, the longest standing, I think, member here. Hi, Justice Jane. And True Crime Housewife, and Lacey's in the house. Of course, Charmaine's in the house. But yeah, so um, I guess I guess in 6 days she'll be a month old. But
Wow.
anyway, so yeah, so I was just at work and I like I said, I had to do quite a few things that particular day. And I literally had to tell my brain just to focus, 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 focus. But it was a shock, a
Yeah, it had to have been surreal.
happy shock. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, because at the end of the day, mind you, I did send my son $50 today, and I asked for a picture or a video if he wouldn't mind. Never got the thank you for the money, but I did get a picture, so I guess that was worth $50.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had sent off from Amazon this caterpillar toy, one of those long things, and then the first Easter book. It was a Mickey Mouse first Easter or whatever. But anyways, so I'm a happy grandma. I didn't even think I was going to be a grandma, honestly. I figured my son might not never have children or whatever, so I'm good with that. I'm good just knowing,
Surprise.
like which what makes me laugh is that my twin sister has 4 children, and granted that the youngest is I think 18 now, but none of them have had children. So my son actually
First one. Yeah.
beat them all.
I'm on my
Sad.
fourth. My daughter's due in August, actually, with her fourth.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. And I'm not sure who Justice Jane is talking about because me and you have pretty much the same length of hair. Are you talking about me or Charmaine?
Definitely you, because
I'm
your
pretty
hair
sure.
is quite a bit longer.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, oh,
Mine
and
is shorter. Yours is longer.
oh. I never cut mine. Like,
I don't either, but it just breaks, you know?
yeah, right. I only ever cut my bangs.
Hmm.
Um, Sunny, that is amazing though. Thank you so much. Thanks, Lacey. And so Charmaine, you just got back from Mexico trip. So just quickly for all our regulars that are in here right now, which is, all of them. um, how was your trip and how's everything going for you?
The trip was amazing. My family goes to Mexico like at least once a year, like not all at the same time, but I'm always asked to go, and I never had the desire to go. And Ian is always so busy and he always says, I want to go, I want to go. So for his 50th birthday, I got tickets to an all inclusive, and I just thought, screw it, I'll just go, whatever. And now I need to go. I'll be going back as often as I possibly can. It's amazing. The weather was so hot. I got burnt and I'm peeling, and I got blisters on the top of my feet. But our resort, where our room was, we had a garden view, but you go through this little tunnel and you're right in the middle of where all the pools are. And then not even a 5-minute walk, we're in the Caribbean Ocean. And the sand is white, like powdery sand. It's just beautiful. And the food was delicious, and the people there, like the service was amazing. I had a jet tub in my room. I woke up, there were deers eating in my lawn every morning. It was
deers?
Yeah, little deer. They're deer, but they're a lot smaller than our deer here. And then there were also capybaras, and then I don't remember what they're called, coyote or something like that, but they're small, they're bigger than a raccoon, and they're red and black, and they kind of have a longer nose than a raccoon, but I call them red raccoons, but they're not red. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. And I saw a monkey. We went to Playa del Carmen and got lost one day, and that was fun. And then the next day we went back there, but got on a ferry and went across to Cozumel Island, and I bought a ton of souvenirs and did the day, and it was really good. And everybody says, oh, 7 days isn't long enough. It's not long enough. But for someone that's never actually gone on a vacation, I'm never not doing something. Like, I always have stuff to do, work, whatever. So just even getting used to not doing anything and not having my phone or computer or anything like that. 7 days was long enough. It was perfect. It was really
good. That's so nice. I'm going to go on one of those one day.
Yeah, you should. And I mean, you can do like I don't know if the States can do this, but you can do like a flex pay. And I found this out after I bought the tickets, and I wish I would have known. But you can make payments over time. So like if you book now to go on a trip next year, you can put whatever money you can, and they give you a certain date that it has to be paid by. Like you can put installments on it. So like anybody could go if you have a little bit of extra money, like almost like saving up for a trip, only you're actually paying for the trip as you're saving.
Standard mode.
It was really good.
Nice.
Rain nonstop for 7 days. I didn't see a single cloud the entire time I was there. It was gorgeous. Yeah. Nice. No, in the resort there was no wind, but I didn't know that the ocean is never actually calm. So the waves and stuff are crashing on the beach, and I'm like, oh my God, is there a storm coming? And everybody's looking at me like I had two heads, because I guess it was a calm day on the ocean.
Nice. Jealous. I'm jealous of the way. And just you guys as well, the regulars out here, just to give you a little bit of an update on Melissa. So Melissa found out that she did not have cancer, thankfully. Prayers to Melissa, but she's still struggling with health issues. And so, and, need to do a live with Melissa soon. But again, she's been going through a lot and stuff like that. And Sharmain's been I really I want to say this, okay? And most people that know me know this. I'm not the person to message someone typically. If someone messages me, but I usually always go about life and do my day-to-day things. And, if a message comes in, I'll answer it. But I usually don't message people. I've never been, as much as I can talk to people, I've never been a phone person so much, or a messenger. So, but it's like, I know with you, I know with even Melissa, and I know with Alexa, and even Miss Dog Lover over there, and Sharon Parker, I can go 2 weeks, a month, whatever. And we always just pick up where we left off. Meaning it's just one of those things is that, it's like, for instance, I haven't done a live in 6 weeks, pretty much, I know we've talked very little, during that time and stuff like that. But we always just pick up where we left off and see how each other's doing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And hey, Mark, how are you? Now, so before we get into it, before we get into the, of course, Lily and Jack Sullivan here, the missing children out of Nova Scotia, um, is there anything else that you needed or wanted to say besides, hey, you missed us
I,
there?
I just I wonder, and not that we're going to talk about it tonight, but I haven't really been keeping up with the Sebastian situation. I've been really, really, really into Koberger, like really.
Right, I know.
That trial is coming up
Hmm.
when this thing came out, but I haven't
Well,
seen anything on Sebastian for.
well, the thing is that so it's not like so I was, what? Let me just present. Let's just see image file here. Where is it? And right here. Okay. So I do want to just mention this, of course, because Sebastian Rogers' case is very near to my personal heart in this channel, and there. To be honest, I mean, there's simply just there isn't no news. It's the bottom line is that you still want to always keep the awareness of the case, and there still are the channels out there doing that for sure. It's not like I don't want to, but sometimes um sometimes you just need a break, and I just wanted a break. I've been visiting my twin sister. I decided I was going to be the bigger person twin, and just I went to go visit her, you know and just catch up on things. I didn't even talk about why I had been so upset, and she didn't bring it up because she knows. But anyways, I didn't bring it up. I just, I'm not a person that likes conflict that way, but I also am, when somebody hurts me or crosses the line, then honestly, it's hard for me to look past that until I'm ready. Because I have those boundaries, and they're pretty long boundaries, don't get me wrong. But anyway, so I was visiting my sister. I remember that for 3 days in a row, like last weekend, or no, the weekend before. I'm probably going to go see her tomorrow. I'll go see her the weekend after. But so I've just been doing life, ordering from Timu, ordering lots of stuff from Timu lately. Oh, actually, I'm expecting an order to come today now that I think about it. And just, just kind of like doing my thing. And am I watching a lot of true crime? 35%. You know, this case, I saw it when it came out. I really felt, so I was paying attention to it. And then I was like, you know what? Really need to do, I mean, come on, we're Canadian.
Yeah.
What the heck, right? And I know you just got back from Mexico. So I was like, Sharmain, hey, we should really do a live on this one. I mean, frick, we're Canadian. You got
Yeah.
all the US people covering this case. I'm amazed how many US channels have taken on, this US, the Canadian true crime uh, one. But
They all took it, like all of the
all
big
of them,
shows, they jumped
you
on
know,
board, and I think it's because of the similarity to, like we were talking about earlier today, Sunny, in some of the more high profile cases. And
hmm
it always, I mean, I have to check myself because it always surprises me when these cases happen and the parents, no matter what you think, they come off as kind of suspicious. And
yes,
it's almost like because they probably don't watch true crime all the time. So
right,
in my mind, I'm like, why are you saying that? Or why are you being like that? We just went through this with Megan Boswell, or we're going through this with Sebastian Rogers right now. Why would you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
you're putting a target on yourselves, but I get it. People they don't think like we do. But
Right. Absolutely. You know, with this particular case, well, okay, so first of all, Sebastian Rogers. He's been missing over a year. February 25th marked a year for Sebastian Rogers missing. Of course, if anyone has any information, please come forward. This case breaks my heart. They all do. Anything to do with children just simply breaks my heart. Children are innocent children. Simple as that. They deserve to be brought up with the most love, care, admiration. You bring children into this world, and it's your responsibility to make sure that they are kept safe, and do your due diligence as a parent. Now, don't get me wrong. We all make silly mistakes along the way as we're parenting. But then there's just sometimes simple neglect. They live in homes that are just very undesirable, and you can tell that they're unkept and stuff like that. And then you wonder, like, my heart breaks for any child that I even talk about, or even if we don't cover it, it doesn't stop my heart from hurting, because children are just innocent. That's all, simple as that. You know,
Yeah.
they're just a beautiful product that was created, and it's our job to make sure that they're kept safe. And so, when someone's taken the life of a child, or the child goes missing, now don't get me wrong. Like I said, this is a weird case for this one, and we'll get into that. But don't get me wrong. I mean, parents can only do so much, but we're talking about toddlers, not so much about teens. Teens can run off regardless. You could live in the most perfect home, but the child sees it in a different light because they hate boundaries. They hate to listen to rules and stuff like that. We're talking
Mhm.
about the children in general. But anyways, but Sebastian Rogers, you guys, again, um, we'll keep his name out there. I'm just not sure at this moment how many lives I will keep doing or will be doing. I'll be doing lives, just they'll be sporadic probably, because summertime's coming. And I'm just, sometimes you just need a breather, and I'm enjoying the breather. But don't think that I don't miss you guys or think about you guys, including you, Mark. No, just kidding. But because I always remember always the family of the It's a Crime and Shame people. And I know that, it's been a while and been a minute and stuff like that. And I know that, like anyone, I mean, at the end of the day, really, like, honestly, you're just a number in this world. But,
Mhm.
throughout that time, you do develop, friendships come, friendships go. I always remember that poem, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Some people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime,
Mhm.
right? And again, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
I am a loyal friend. And again, if I don't talk to Sharmain for 2 months, still talk to her on that second month, like as if we never lost a minute, type of thing, you know, because of that type of bond. So, oh, right. And I do want to say this. Okay. Happy Mother's Day. Um, I work on Mother's Day, but whatever, 8 to 4. I'll be working at home anyway. Totally forgot it. Like, I remembered it was Mother's Day, but kind of forgot as well, or else I probably would have booked it off. But anyways, so happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there, or people that want to become mothers that aren't. So, are you doing anything special for Mother's Day, Sherman?
I totally forgot it was Mother's Day, so
Yeah,
probably not.
yeah.
Probably
I keep
not.
reminding my husband, he's just like, yeah, 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 whatever. When's the next long weekend again? And I'm like, it's the one after that. The May long weekend. Okay.
That's my birthday. The long weekend is my birthday, so I might do something that weekend. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, right. Your
Mhm.
birthday is like May 19th.
It is, yeah. It is. Good
Share.
memory. Good memory.
You know why? You know why I remembered it? Because the number 19 isn't a familiar number for me to remember.
Mhm.
So I stuck it in my head, the number 19, because nothing in my life is surrounds around that number 19. So I had to remember it. So I did. I did. Not too bad, right? Anyways, okay. So we'll play a video. The latest one that I seen was out 7 hours ago. We know that with this case, Jack and Lily. Now, what I did notice is that the family members actually spell Lily or Lilly, and I noticed that a lot of people put on Lily this way. But
Mhm.
if you look at, say, the grandma post and the relatives from, we'll say, what's his name? Daniel. Uh,
Daniel, yeah.
yeah, from his side, like they spell it Li. I don't know about the other side, but Lilly, because I had it as Lily, because I saw it that way many times. But so whichever, Lily, all sounds the same. Two L's, one L. There she is. There's Melissa. Hey, Melissa. We stepped out on you, Melissa. Covering Canadian true crime over here. Yeah. So with this case, Um, Heart-wrenching for sure, but I figure I'll play. What I'm gonna do is I'll play the like CTV news video, okay? And so just for anyone that's new here and watching, so I'm in British Columbia, which is the furthest point in a sense away from Nova Scotia. And actually, Sharmain, she's in British Columbia right now. She's usually in Alberta or British Columbia. So Newfoundland. I was going to say Newfoundland. So Newfoundland is the farthest point from BC there, and of course, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, all those beautiful little towns that I haven't been to. That's like east, like actually 4 hours difference.
The far east corner. So we
Yeah.
call those the Maritimes.
The Maritimes,
Like,
yeah. But yeah, so I mean, because Newfoundland is weird because they have a 4.5 hour difference,
yeah.
and I honestly I didn't realize that Nova Scotia was 4 hours different from us. I thought
Yeah.
it was three, but that's
I have got like I can't even count how many friends I have in Nova Scotia. I also know people in PEI, and so I I learned the hard way years ago that they had a three. Well, at the time I was in Alberta, so a 3 hour time difference because I'd just be texting them as usual, and it'd be like 2 in the morning for them. To be like, I'm sorry, or it'd be, they'd text me at 4 in the morning, but it was actually 7 for them, and I'm like,
yeah. I know. I mean, my husband's family is from the UK, so that's a whole
yeah,
time zone in itself. But
yeah.
anyway, so yes, but I did happy belated you birthday, Miss Dog Lover, because I don't pay attention to Facebook and stuff like that, and like how some people's dates pop up, like it's this person's birthday, and stuff like that. I, I'm not a very avid. I'm a messenger person.
Yeah, you didn't even know that Deb posted something on your Facebook page the other day, and
Mm-mm.
it's like, yeah, I saw what Deb posted. You're like, oh, did she?
Yeah, nope. I don't even for me to look at like honestly, I don't look at my Facebook. Like I post to it for the live, but I don't actually look at my Facebook because it's not on my iPad. I don't have enough storage for that. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even looked at my actually it's a crime and shame emails. I don't even know how
Really?
many there are in there. If not, I suck. I suck at social media stuff.
I
You
can't
know.
remember who it was, but I told them to email you your crime and shame one. So maybe you should check that. Oh, I think it was Mark.
Oh, well, no, Mark checked in on me. Mark checked in on me. I know that. So thank you, Mark. Basically, are you a dead or alive, Sonny? I'm like, dead. I'm speaking to you, but I'm answering you back, but ghostly. Yeah. And it was my birthday on March 28th. I turned 26. Oh, you're so old,
Oh
Lacey.
my gosh, I
So
didn't know you were
old.
that old. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just, yeah. I feel like you're ready for an oxygen tank there, Lacey. I mean,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure 55, like I am. I'm 55. I'm pretty sure that's the new young.
Absolutely. I'm turning 51 and I'll be perpetually 20. How old is she? I'll be 25 forever.
Right. Well, sure. Actually, that's a good age. We always say 29 whenever doesn't want to
Yeah.
get married. It's usually 29. But anyways, okay. So let's play out this, and then we're just going to talk because there's a lot to talk about with this case. To be honest with you, yeah. Actually, let's start with that. So present. I see that StreamYard has changed a little bit here. Video file. Which one? I want. Nope. I don't want to watch a video file. Hold on. I got it wrong. I want to share screen. That's what I want to do. And I want to go. I got too many tabs open. That's my problem. So this one was the latest one that came out, guys. Let's see here. Oh, can you guys see that okay? I'll make it bigger. Oh, hey, where did we go? Oh, we're here. I meant to do that one. Okay. One
So
second
this
here.
one was posted when? And does everybody know what case this is? Like,
Well, I would like to think so.
yeah.
One second here. Your thing's irritating me. I gotta shove you over just a little bit.
You can
All
take me
right.
off. I'm going to keep my camera off for a couple minutes. So,
Yeah, no problem. Update layout. So if anyone doesn't know, of course, this is the case of Lily and Jack out of Nova Scotia. May 2nd is when these children disappeared and
That's when they were reported.
reported. That's right. That's
I
when
have
they
my
were.
own theory. Yeah.
Right. I was going to say, when we'll get into those theories, that's
Yeah.
when they were reported missing. Okay, so let me make this bigger and we'll click on this one. Got to find actually which tab I'm on. Oh, here we are. Okay.
Back home after days of searching for 2 children missing on the mainland. The search for 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack was unsuccessful.
I think a lot of people went home last night with really heavy heart and maybe a feeling of defeat because that's all we want is successful search one way or the other.
22 volunteers from Cape Breton joined many others on the ground and in the air. Many have been involved in searches before, but when it involves children, Amanda Donovan says it hits different.
Oh, there's no worse situation. A lot of us are parents. A lot of us, just as humans, can't fathom that situation. And it really, the urgency and the response, I think, speaks to how affected everybody was by that.
Nova Scotia RCMP announced Wednesday it was scaling back the search for the 2 missing children after 6 days of scouring the heavily wooded areas surrounding their home in Lansdowne Station.
They are very thick. There's a lot of the hurricane damage from Fiona a couple of years ago, and we've had teams struggling to get through areas.
Amy Hansen is with Colchester Ground Search and Rescue. She says searchers have covered a lot of ground the last few days and feels the area has been thoroughly searched.
We are exhausting people, and we're starting to see more injuries coming back the last couple of days, and it's hard terrain.
Back in Sydney, Amanda Donovan can't help but think about the many volunteers that came together from many areas of the province with the same goal in mind.
I think that having such a big operation and seeing everybody work so cohesively together really speaks to the professional nature. Even though majority of us are volunteers, we are trained volunteers, and that's what we do best. So it was really nice to see all of that come together.
Kyle Moore, CBC News, Sydney.
Six days after 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan disappeared from their home in rural northeastern Nova Scotia, the RCMP announced today their search for the 2 siblings is being scaled back, saying there's little chance they are alive. The CBC's Blair Rhodes joins us now live from the search area in Pictou County with the latest. Blair.
Tom, the mood here was solemn as the searchers were told that despite their best efforts, they were scaling back the search. Before the news conference, RCMP told Jack and Lily's family, their stepfather, Daniel Martell, said he's not giving up.
I'm still holding out hope. I don't know why they didn't find anything from Jack's pull-up to her backpack or any of her belongings at all. They just haven't found anything.
Now, while the family may have some hope, the police say that after 6 days of often extreme conditions, the children were still in the woods, they wouldn't be alive. So now they said it came down to a question of survivability.
And a number of factors would have to take consideration, and they would, based upon scientific information that they have, to deem when that time has to come, and that is now. And a lot of those factors come into play would be the age of the missing persons, the weather, how long it's been, what area has been covered. So at that point, they have to make a decision on that.
Now, from the very beginning, they described this disappearance as suspicious. That's standard in missing persons cases like this. Today, we were asking the police, because the Major Crime Unit has been part of this investigation since the weekend, as to whether they could elaborate on that. But they didn't want to answer questions about whether they had detected any criminal activity in connection with this.
When somebody goes missing and we become engaged as any police officer, not just major crime, we will look at all the details and make considerations on the information we have, right? When it comes to a missing person, we have to automatically consider those, are there people that have different charter implications and things like that? So we will automatically start to consider what evidence is pointing us towards a suspicious in nature. Again, I can't comment more than that, But every missing person case, we would approach it from the same process, a methodical collection and review of information with decisions based on that.
Now, when police say they're scaling back, what they mean by that is they will be going back over some of the areas they've already searched, taking another look to see if there's anything they missed. Tom?
All right, Blair, thanks for that. That is CBC's Blair Rose reporting live.
Okay, wait a second here. I'm back. I forgot I had to turn on Streamlabs. Totally forgot about that. And so let's see if it will work. Let me see if I can get it going now. Rusty. I usually just assume that it's always on, but sometimes it turns itself off. There we go. Streamlabs, welcome. Okay, so do you have anything to say about what we just heard now? Because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play the mother's interview, and then I'm going to play a few of his, and then we're going to discuss that. But is there anything from this you wanted to talk about now?
So not really talk about, but just to clarify, and to be clear, when people go missing, it is extraordinarily uncommon for law enforcement to come out and say the likelihood that they're still alive is low after 6 days and that they're scaling back the search. That's very uncommon anywhere, but here it's not normal for here either. But basically what they did, from my understanding, is they asked all the volunteer searchers, because there was a couple hundred out there for 6 days. They asked that those searches stop. They've got a more methodical group of RCMP and law enforcement officers that are going to be focusing on specific areas based on the children's ages, the terrain. Like the search lead said there, Hurricane Fiona that went through last year, there's a lot of destruction in the wooded area. Like that stuff doesn't get cleaned up over time, right? Just kind of let nature take care of itself. So it's a very rough area. So they don't want hundreds of people in there anymore. They want to scale it back. So it's a little misleading when they say we're going to scale back the search effort. It doesn't mean that they're trying any less. It just means they want less people in there so they can focus better.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing we will talk about too is that obviously they would have issued an Amber Alert if they truly felt that the children were abducted. That if they really felt that was the line that they were going to go down, whether that is let's just call him stepdad for the sake of it, okay?
Yeah.
For them. We don't know, right? We don't know the answer to this. And honestly, I'm just going to let it play out. We're going to definitely talk about red flags and our thoughts about certain things for sure. But just going to let it play out. But are they pushing a narrative? Is that what they were trying to push to us about an abduction? Again, regardless, there would have been an Amber Alert, I believe. Don't you think, Sharmain? If in fact they felt truly that there was an abduction going on.
In Canada, so they're very strict on the required criteria to issue an Amber Alert. And if they don't have all of it, chances are, I believe it's the Governor General that has to give the go-ahead to issue that Amber Alert. He will not if all of the criteria is not met. Having said that, if we look back at the case of Tori Stafford, there was no Amber Alert issued for her when they had all of the criteria. So they learned a hard lesson there. And then there was another case, Holly Jones in Toronto, where they didn't have all of the criteria and they put out an Amber Alert. So, and that was like directly after Tori Stafford. So I feel like they were, and I mean, it's good. I think they should put an Amber Alert out anytime a child goes missing, no matter what.
I think so too.
But I think that they lessen their strictness on those criteria for Holly Jones. And then since then too, we've seen a number of Amber Alerts, but there's usually a description of a car or a person or something. And in this case, the only thing that they had were the parents' story, which I think that everybody in chat, once they see these initial interviews, will probably see where we're going to be going with our opinions. So
Yeah. So, well, and another thing we're going to talk about too is like, because we obviously, Canadian. So for the Americans, and I do had a chuckle at somebody yesterday. They were like, I'm not sure if Nova Scotia borders the United States.
yeah,
That's what they mean by boundaries, or and stuff like that. And it's kind of
I was pretty impressed by some of them. They actually pronounced Pictou County properly. Antigonish, they pronounce stuff pretty good, even though they said, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this, but yet they can't say Shuswap or Okanagan.
yeah,
It's pretty funny stuff. But
yeah, that's true. True.
yeah.
Now, okay, so what I want to do next is, so I basically have a video, and I'm gonna play how do you say it?
I think it's Michaela
Mahela,
Brooks
Mahela
or no,
Brooks Murray.
Brooks Murray.
Yeah. And then after that, it will be his. And now, you know what? I should have done a poll, but you know what, guys? I haven't done a live for 6 weeks. So I wasn't even thinking about a poll, to be honest with you, because everyone's going to have their thoughts on if they feel like the parents and stepdad had anything to do with the children missing versus, going out into the woods, being abducted, whichever. Okay.
And I'm really, really, really interested in what you guys have to say in chat about this. So don't be shy. Let's hear your comments.
Okay, so let's let me bring up that video, and we'll kind of stop and go throughout it. And Plunder did a really good video. Plunder's always great for doing hers. She's a very detailed person, no fluff. She just basically she compacts a lot of information in her videos. She always has. Okay, so let me just play this one out. Or not the whole thing, but
just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them, and they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
Okay, Sharmain. Now, I'm going to play it again, but I'm going to stop it this time on things that, okay, so I consider the mother's interview myself to be just a bunch of red flags listening to her. Um, like, honestly, it's weird, it's strange. The emotions don't match how one talks to me. Um, I'm not saying that the mother has done anything. I'm just talking about how I feel about the interview, and how I took it. Uh, so, I mean, so just give your blurb there on what you felt about her interview, and we'll go back over it to those certain spots that I really thought are just, well, the whole thing is just weird, actually.
Yeah. So you know how when you talk to a dog and you're high pitched or something, or they're really interested, they go, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my first reaction. Like, what? But then I watched it again and again and again, and I got to tell you, it infuriated me. The amount of bullshit in that, it infuriated me, and I have got some strong opinions about it. It's
Yeah.
just red flag after red flag after red flag.
And that's just it, right? Because, I mean, all of us automatically we're judgmental on things, no matter what, regardless. Judgmental on maybe this man's looks, stuff like that. Maybe thinking that he's just some dumb hillbilly type of, person, maybe lacks some brain cells that don't go to the top. Who knows, right? But we automatically kind of have our perception. When I watched her interview here, it honestly, it infuriated me as well. And on top of that, we learned that there was some sort of um, argument that happened where apparently Mihaela was, told to get off the property. And she went to her mother's house in Wentworth there, which is an hour away from where the babies are. And these are her children. Um, he's doing the interviews, but we're gonna get into this. She's done one interview. They were supposedly told not, to speak to, the media and stuff like that. But there's just things that are rubbing me the wrong way, kind of like with Sebastian Rogers' case, with the Proudfoots. These things that just don't make sense. They're not adding up. The words are strange. The actions are strange. So I'm just gonna play the first part and then you can tell me when to stop it too. If I don't stop it and you hear something that you want to talk about, but I'm pretty sure we're going to kind of talk about the whole thing of this interview with the mother.
Being as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go out.
Okay. They're not the type of kids we tell them. That was a strange sentence.
Yes.
Like, meaning normally you would say they're not the type of kids to go outside if we don't let them, right? Like, they're not the type. But her whole sentence was they're not the type of kids, and then it's kind of like it goes off in a different direction on how she says it there. Hold on a second. 1 second, Sharmain. Let me just play that one more time.
In and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside.
Yeah, they're not the type of kids we tell them not to go outside. It just, the way she said it just seemed really strange. It didn't.
She's making. I don't even know what. It's not making excuses, but she's already defending the fact that the kids got outside, just somehow opened this heavy ass sliding door that would not be silent. I don't care.
I've never had a sliding door that's ever been silent. Okay, I got sliding door in this apartment. I have sliding doors. I'm pretty much everywhere I live. Nothing silent about a sliding door.
Has everybody seen a picture of the property just so they can see how old and dilapidated this trailer is. So it's not a new, high-tech, silent sliding door.
Well, yeah,
The
most
thing
of
probably rumbled the living room as you're opening it, and you're not going to convince me that a 6-year-old little girl got this door open. You're never going to convince me of that. And then shut it behind her. Come on. Come on. They're not the type of kids we tell to not go outside, which doesn't make sense. Well, no, what she meant is they're not allowed to go outside without supervision. She says it later, actually, that they're allowed to go outside, but only if they're with them. And that brings me to my next point, is what 6-year-old is going to get up and take her little brother in a pull-up outside, not even just outside, but past the gate into the woods when they're never allowed outside by themselves. Most kids would, even if they did venture to go into the yard, they're not gonna take their little brother into the woods against their parents' wishes for the first time ever. It could have happened, but you're never going to convince me that they were the type of parents that were watching their kids and making sure they were safe. And I mean, it's my opinion, but it's just so infuriating. But like I said, if they're out there, they're talking, they're telling their story. They're obviously not true crime people, which whatever, we're the weirdos, I guess. But if they were true crime people, they would know how ridiculous all of that sounds.
correct. Right. But they're not. But we are.
Well, for all I know, she is, right? Like maybe she is, and maybe she's legitimately missing her children. But it's just really hard for me to believe that 6-year-old sweet little girl opened that door silently, got her brother out the house, closed it behind them, and then took him out into the woods. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
You know, exactly. I mean, it's not making sense. And, you know, do we know that it, like, because we don't know this, do we know it was actually Friday that they went missing?
No, and I don't think it was. I'm saving my, because no.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so we'll get into that. So let's play a little bit more. So, and like, hi, Bebopalula. Is that, like, that reminds me of Grease. Bebop. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing there. But anyways, play a little bit more here, and that is a weird sentence. The sentence was strange. It wasn't a running, fluent sentence. It went, just like you said, they're not the type of kids, and then we tell them not to go outside. That reminds me of, to me, that kind of starts off reminding me of someone, well, I mean, to be honest with you, right, and I just want to be fair to my own thoughts here, is that it just reminds me of somebody telling a story. Thanks, husband. That's my team order that just came flying through the door. Okay. Okay, but let's play a little bit more.
On their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door.
All right.
Happened to get out that sliding door. And one more thing real quick. What is it with parents that have missing kids? They always have to say something about, I miss them being in their bed. Like, hello, Chris Watts. Do you know what I mean?
I know, right? Well, again, you know, for me, I always just look like everybody, right? You're trying to look for the genuineness, the authenticity of when they're talking. And if what they're doing and saying and their actions are that of what you would expect. Now, I granted that people can act different ways for sure, but there's still usually certain, you know, things, words that people kind of say, like, these are 2 children, not one, even 2, right, that have supposedly gone missing. The state of how she's talking, it seems so strange to me. I would be, at this point, bawling my eyes out beyond belief. I would be begging people for help. You know, this interview is strange. Like it's concocted. That's what it reminds me of. Somebody that has concocted what to say, and it's just so strange to me. It just rubs me the wrong way fully, to be honest with you. And
Mhm.
I don't personally find, and I'm sorry to say this, Mihaela, but just on listening, your actions and your words and your emotions and what you're saying comes off as something contrived that you have to think about. And that's why you're saying these weird things about, them being talkative and, like, and continuously talking about that, to just the whole interview. Uh, to be honest with you, it just strikes me as odd for sure. What's that?
And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't.
Right. So going back to this part, right? Basically, we always look after them. Yep. We're the best parents ever in that shit shack rundown place. Okay? You know
They just
how
have to get out that door.
they just happen to get out that door, silent door, of course. Now, no offense, but they live like a fucking like shit show. Okay? Their property is like a garbage dump, basically. Well, I've seen worse. But you know how you are who your friends are, which is, when you look at somebody's, say, Facebook, and you can see exactly kind of, again, whoever your friends are, is typically that's your personality as well. And that's why you have friends type of thing like that, good or bad. That's what kind of this reminds me of is that when you see that home on the outside, what do you think that home looks like on the inside? I personally think that these kids have seen less time at school than they have actually been in school, to be honest with you. Because
And the fact that they have two small children,
so,
okay, two small children that they think might have slight autism are up by themselves at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the boy still has his 4-year-old boy still has his dirty pull-up on. I mean, it just gets better and better. Just gets better and better.
right. Right. I'm gonna probably think this, Charmaine. So Daniel, so I believe that the reason why they actually know what, say, the children were wearing is because they went to bed in those clothes. You guys think so? Do you
It,
think so?
it's quite possible, but I mean,
Oh yeah.
once we play the video out
Yeah.
again, I mean, she has this whole scenario of, well, if the children never go outside without me, and I'm just spitballing here as a mother, I
Uh-huh.
cannot relate to this, but if my children never go outside by themselves, ever, I don't think the first scenario that would come into my head is that, oh, they happened to get out the door and they were playing outside. I would panic. I would think somebody came in my house and took my kids. I would
Absolutely.
not have a calm, well thought out, not even well thought out, to be honest with you, but story about how they happened to get out the door and the door is silent. And I mean, it's just all kinds of wrong, in
Hmm.
my opinion.
Well, like I said, like the children were not at school. Like so, Wednesday was a day off of school, but then they were supposedly sick on the Thursday and the Friday, so they had only gone to school on the Monday or the Tuesday. But I can guarantee you, Charmaine, that these children probably have a ton of sick days. You know what? I'm sorry, and this might be being a stereotypical thing, but when people live like this, okay, usually, again, it's honestly more times or not, the children aren't in school. Mother's probably too lazy. Well, obviously, they don't know how to take care of a yard very well, and it just looks like a shit shack. And that's from the front side. So,
Yeah.
my perception of this is I'm not saying that the children, I don't know, weren't loved. Who knows? because we don't know the situation going on here. But there's definitely a lot of red flags, especially when it comes to the mother. Okay, more so than the stepdad or her partner. That was a weird part of that interview as well. So that's the front side, and then the back side will show you quickly. Image. Let me just grab that, and then okay, that's the back side, right? That's the sliding glass door that doesn't make any noise, right? Come on now, unless you're WD-40ing that sucker, you know.
And I mean, if you zoom in, there's there's a mattress in the yard. There's a stove or something on the step. Yes, there are children's toys strewn about. But that, like I said, you can't tell me that that's a silent sliding glass door on that rickety ass deck. You don't hear them. And they are tiny children, but like I said, if they're not normally allowed to go outside without parental supervision, you're never going to convince me that she just took her brother out that door, closed the door behind them.
Hear it when it opens.
And trucked her out into the bush. You'll never convince me.
You know, these kids did not go out into those woods and just disappear. Those children, they would have been found. Come on now. So, kind of like when she speaks, right? And I know I did hear another person say this, but it's not exactly rocket science here. When she speaks, it's like, here, you know what? We take care of these kids. You know,
Yeah,
we're really great at
your parenting.
You know, but just this particular day, they just, and then of course, I mean, as we get into it, well, we'll play a little bit more again on there.
And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet.
And they were outside playing. We weren't aware of it at the time.
And we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside.
Okay, well, let's just stop that there. So that struck everyone, I'm sure, that heard that when it was like, so how did you learn later? How do you know that Lily had a strawberry knapsack, was wearing a strawberry knapsack? You know, like I said, I'm going to kind of go with my gut intuition on this one, that those children were wearing the same clothes that they were wearing the night before. And that's exactly how they knew. But the knapsack, obviously, you know, but so what? You put on a knapsack, you can go play in the backyard. You're going to just slide on out there for something you've never done before. And then on that time that you never go outside by yourself, children, then you're going to just hop off into the freaking bushes, the trees there, and then just disappear like magic. Just disappear. So, you know what? So, again, it's one thing to go outside. Okay, they were outside, you know, found, da-da-da-da-da. They don't normally do that. But no, it's kind of like Sebastian Rogers. Yeah?
But I think this is a little even different than Sebastian because, I mean, they want us to believe that these little small babies just happened to get out, blah, 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 silent door, whatever, but then went far enough out that they either got lost or, I mean, there's no traffic driving in the bush. Maybe they went the other way to the main road and somebody picked them up. But I mean, how do you come up with that exact? They happened to get outside and they were playing outside, but we weren't aware of it at the time. Like, how do you? Your children are missing. How are you concocting this scenario that's so boxed in?
That's just it. Look, listening to her speak on top of what she's saying, I'm not seeing this devastated mother that's just broken down and bawling. This just happened.
Yeah, this is like the next day. This is like the third.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, she's had 1, 2, 3, at least 3 to 4 days to come up with this, in my humble opinion.
Right. And that's saying that the children actually, like, so again, so depending on who lived all on that property there, whether the brother lived on the property and the grandma or something like that, step grandma lived on the so only the police and close perhaps people that are in the know would know when was truly these children last seen. Was it Friday? Was it Thursday?
The last proof of life was at school on Tuesday. And I mean, I haven't even heard for sure that they were at school Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
You know?
I mean, on God, where did I read that? I don't know. I've read too much now. Listen to too much, read too much. But
close together at some point.
Yeah. So here we have these great parents with this shit shack of a house that on the inside is, and again, let's just call a spade a spade. You know that the inside is as big of a piece of shit on the inside of this home as it is the outside, okay? Because you can tell at the end of the day they're slobs. Simple as that, regardless. And honestly, when I see homes like that, it's kind of like the Summer Wells case. I feel so bad for the children, to be honest with you. You know, because like when she says that they actually, you know what, we'll get into that when we come across that part about the whole autism spectrum stuff and blah blah. But anyway, okay, we'll play a little
everywhere, yelling for them, and I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids.
Now, wasn't it said that they were nonverbal and then all of a sudden they're verbal?
No, she said from the beginning they're verbal, and that's when it comes out. They have slight autism. It's not diagnosed, but they just have problems keeping up with the kids at school.
It's just
autistic.
What? Appreciate.
Like, you know what's strange to me is that, like I said, this interview is the next day. Yeah. And it's almost like we're listening to this, honestly, this big segment, which it struck me as odd too. And I'm pretty sure like other people out there, she's just going on like they're go lucky, you know, and we know this expression is happy go lucky, but they're go lucky, you know, and you know, like meaning for me, I would be sitting there going, you know, please, if anyone can help, please assist, blah 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 blah, you know, and talk about the main things. But you know, but it's almost like when someone's talking about how much they talk, as if they're associating that with an abduction. But basically, they'll just talk with anybody. They're just so happy-go-lucky that they're just going to talk with anybody. Let me just keep talking about how much they like to talk. And let me say these odd things about, you know, they haven't been diagnosed, but they're on the spectrum and they can't keep up with school. Why is that? Chances are it's because they are not getting the proper schooling, because they're probably homesick more than they're actually at school, and they're probably falling behind because they don't have this structure at home. And that's how I see that. But let's pull out but they haven't been diagnosed. But you know, I think that they both suddenly fall on the autism because, you know, at school they're not keeping up with the others. What do you think about that? That's me, Batty, that one.
Oh, it boils my blood, because when you don't just label your kid autistic. You have to take them to a doctor and have them tested, and that doesn't excuse you from being a parent. So if they're autistic, then why are they up by themselves at 10 a.m.? You know what I'm saying? Why are they up by themselves at 10 a.m. while you're in bed sleeping with your boyfriend and the baby? Come on.
Well, apparently at 8 a.m., right? Remember at 8 a.m. that she's in and out of sleep. And then I think it was the deception detective guy that said, like, well, how would she know that he's sleeping if she's sleeping? How would she know? Type of thing. I mean, there's obviously, an argument that went on, which,
Yeah.
So what that argument was about, because in these cases, it's easy to play the blame game. But if they're together, at the same time, mind you, honestly though, when a child's missing and you're just distraught and stuffed inside like a true person, honestly, there's going to be some blame placing regardless, because it just kind of happens a little bit most times that, like, because you feel guilty that you
Well,
weren't.
and her family, like her parents that didn't live in the area, they almost automatically blamed stepdad. And that's why stepdad's mom said, you need to get off my property. And so
Right.
she left.
Yeah.
But you're right, Bebop. She's not blaming the kids, but she's excusing her poor parenting and defending herself for no reason. Would no different than Kitty Proudfoot. Tell us the truth. Tell us what happened, because no matter how terrible, neglectful of a parent you are, it would be better than us sitting here thinking that you've done something to your kids.
Absolutely. Just spit it out, the truth.
Spit it out. You messed up. You slept. You left your kids open. You left the door open. I've heard that there was a big party Thursday night. Don't even get me started there. I mean, just tell the truth. If you want to find your kids, tell us what really happened.
Well, but this is the thing, okay? So let's say regardless of, party or not party there, not sure, but regardless, is that to sit here and think that these children, like I said, just, that they don't ever go out and they just wandered off into these woods, and that they want us, it's like a hard story to even try to comprehend that they're trying to be like, well, we were just in and out of consciousness and blah, 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 blah. Meaning, even if they were trying to cover up the fact that they were being neglectful and think that the children, like, let's say that they lied about, because they knew that CPS would be involved or whatever you want to call it. What's it called in Canada? Same thing?
Yeah,
Health
CPS.
Services, right? CPS.
Yeah.
And so, but that's still, so if the children did wander off, they would have been found. I'm sorry. They would have been found. Considering, right, there was about a 20-minute span there. So you think that these 6-year-old and 4-year-old, what?
20 minutes, my ass, whatever.
Right. I know. Right. But they ain't going that far.
No, not with their little 4 and 6-year-old little legs through Hurricane Fiona land. Like, they're not going that far.
Oh, yeah. Actually, let's play a little bit more again.
And like, just real quick, she says that we got up and we were running around and calling their name. But stepdad says that he got up and he called their name, but he got in his car and he went and drove around. So which is it? Did you guys, which is it? Who? She said we were running around looking for the calling name. He says he got in his car and he went looking.
That was another thing. One of that kind of like, what's it called? Never a truer word, or that.
Never a truer word. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. Like the word we, like she constantly uses the word we, right? Yeah. And like I said, this whole interview, it truly just, honestly, out of all the interviews, for him, I want to lean towards he's being the most authentic, but because they keep attaching themselves for being in the same place together, that's the part that's throwing me off here, because it's like listening to her is like listening to somebody tell a story that doesn't have true emotion behind it. That's the way it reflects to me as I'm listening to it. It's like, basically, yeah. And she goes on to these long-winded things about how talkative they are. And I'm just like, what? Like, why are you still meaning we're doing an interview here. And yet usually the news, right, will clip out stuff and, edit it and all that stuff. But she must have been talking about this for a bit or something, because it's a big part of this interview. And I'm just like, why are you keep telling us how talkative they are? Are you trying to associate this with abduction? That because they're talkative and easy to talk to, and the children will just talk to anybody, that they'll just.
One of them even suggested they would get in a car with a stranger at one point here. So, I mean, that's absolutely what she's trying to, you know, she's just throwing us a grain, and hopefully we're going to eat it up and it'll grow that they must have been abducted.
Well, that's what it feels like.
Absolutely.
Like, that's how it feels like it's scared. Okay, we'll play a little bit more.
The huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm.
Okay, that whole thing. Well, it's raining today, but today's sunny, whatever. So hopefully they're feeling warm. Really?
So,
what a weird thing to say.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't get any better. It really doesn't. The only thing she said that I agree with completely was that the Amber Alert to alert everybody that there are missing kids should be done immediately. Right. But again, in my opinion, far too late.
Yeah. But I just want to play that little part again because it just bugs me.
Probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all.
I'm hopeful that they're feeling warm. I hope that they're just snuggled up next to a mushroom and a bunny in the woods. They're just hopeful, or hopeful that the person that abducted them is keeping them warm.
Although I'm not going to go look for them.
No. Weird. Just weird.
Filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home.
This is the next day, and she's saying, we're just all filled with pain and sorrow.
Where's the fear? Where's the worry?
Where's the worry? Absolutely. This is not the reaction I would expect someone to look like on the next day of speaking. Again, it just comes off as disingenuous, that it's just contrived, and that she's just trying to say words she's just trying to use words to make it seem like I really care, but it's just not coming across as a parent that's just devastated that these two children are missing. We're just all feeling pain and sorrow. I've learned to control my emotions, so don't judge me, type of thing. No, at all. No.
And isn't it common for parents of missing kids to, ask for help?
Ask for help.
If you finally get on the news, you're asking for help. You're not saying we're so filled with pain and sorrow. And tell me one time where she says she loves her kids. She misses her kids other than I want them home.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and
they
do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds.
Now, that's true, right? I mean, the one thing that's true, that doesn't mean she has meaning behind it, but yes, our minds instantly, when Haley and Matthew were in the store, and Haley was a little bugger when she was a baby, and Matthew, she was 6 months younger than Matthew, and she was a freaking redheaded headache. I'll tell you that much. And I took him to the store, and I had the double stroller going. Haley would slide out of her the little strap that keeps her in the stroller, and then she takes off. And well, I'm getting her. Matthew gets out of the stroller. Next thing I know, all of a sudden they went and they hid in the clothes rack, one of those round circle things. You want to talk about instant panic and fear? Your head goes right instantly to like the worst case scenario. Like, oh my God, where are they? Did somebody take? That's what you're instantly. So yeah, a true emotion of somebody that's children that are missing. You are an instant, like me. Yeah, you're trying to search around, but it's instant fear. It's instant anxiety right away because
So
it's
then
like,
why tell the media this concocted story about they happened to get out the door and they were playing outside, but we weren't aware of it?
but we're such great parents that we were looking
I
after
mean,
them.
mom always goes to the worst case scenario. Really, is that
Mhm.
that's your worst? That they got outside to play and they went too far? I mean, it just doesn't. It doesn't.
I mean, honestly, I want to say that for me personally, because the children have not been found, and looking at the backyard, and that they would have to like to think that that these children that don't go outside and play unless they're with them, suddenly go outside of the gate on top of going to the road or into the woods, to get abducted off the road or wander off into the woods, that no yelling found them, no kids, no drones. And like this all would have been happening pretty fast. When
Yeah, and the yelling and stuff is 20 minutes, you guys. It's 20 minutes. And if he's in a car and they're running around looking for them, 20 minutes, yeah, you can get pretty lost in the bush in 20 minutes. However, you would hear the yelling and you would yell back. So,
Yeah. And the thing is, too, I mean, honestly, like, so how did they know that they were outside playing, let alone went through the sliding glass door?
that's
They,
that's exactly what I mean. Like maybe they did, but how does your
maybe they,
how does your
they did.
panic going to the worst case scenario mom mind come to that scenario? So much so that now you're comfortable telling probably the police that story. Now you've told the national media that story. I don't understand how we got there
Same.
right out of the gate. The next day.
Right. Right.
You know,
So, again, just like we don't know if they actually disappeared on the Friday. We
right.
don't know. Again, so I mean, unless somebody else was on the property and can verify that they saw the kids on the Thursday, and I'm sure that there could be somebody if there was a party, or perhaps if that grandmother, step grandmother, whatever, was living in the trailer or whatever, possibly they know for like they might know for a fact, or maybe they know for a fact that nobody else witnessed the children, and they're just going off of what the parents have said, that they went out this sliding glass door that was silent. They're kids that don't ever, go outside on the things. So this, they know that we're the best parents here, so we don't allow that. But they wanted to break all the rules and then get abducted or go missing in the woods. No, no, something's wrong, right? I mean, something's wrong with this. And then, but so to think about that part, and then think about this interview, yeah, and you're listening to it, and there's just so many red flags with her during this interview that it doesn't come off as authentic, real, genuine. It doesn't come off as what I would deem as how a person would typically talk the next day, especially when two children are missing, not one. And this hopefulness of, well, it's a sunny day, I hope they're all snuggled in there in the woods somewhere, or snuggled in somebody's car in the trunk. It's a warm day. It's not a rainy day, but it's a warm day today. And don't forget, they're verbal. They're very verbal and talk. You know, mm,
Slightly autistic, but very verbal.
Slightly autistic. Thanks, Miss Dog Lover. Hope to see you both again soon. I gotta go to bed. Lots of love to you. Nice to see you again, Miss Dog Lover. Love you. Thank you. She always said that.
Yeah, I know. She'll be back in like 10.
So, For anyone that doesn't know Miss Dog Lover, she's like I said, she's been a member for 32 months, regular. Miss Dog Lovers usually during the live will say she's going to go to bed at least minimum 3 times, minimum.
How long
Okay.
was hers?
32 months.
32?
Yeah. What are you at?
29.
Yeah. No, Miss Dog Lover holds the reins. Okay. Miss Dog Lover, she knows. Okay.
And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
The last few days are.
So that was really the end of it. And like, so the end part there was, and basically, you know, I don't want to go through another night without them in their beds. And then Sharmain, like we all know, Christopher Watts, as he's got that smirk and that stupid story going on and stuff like that, you know, I'm just not going to be able to see, you know, my kids in their bed anymore. And, you know, so as for Michaela, she's left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. If you're in Wentworth and that's an hour away, you know, like meaning here we have a stepdad that isn't even their biological dad. Why is it seeming like he's doing everything that he can to talk to the news, to talk about taking a polygraph test, you know, a lie detector test there, and giving all the information that he can to be helpful, and mother seems to be nowhere to be seen. And yet she has the strangest interview between the two of them. You know, so what was that fight about, to be honest with you? So it's almost like the way I'm seeing it is that, you know, that here you have someone that is showing that he's going to the news. He's talking. He's not avoiding. He's talking. And he's basically saying, look, come on, lie detector test. You know, basically all those people on social media and her family is accusing him. Or maybe they're accusing the wrong person. But what stops me, Sharmain, a little bit there is because when they're talking as if they're together the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And so how did these children suddenly go missing then if they're together, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're not found in the woods. They're not found anywhere. But if they were in those woods, I'm not believing the abduction. There would be an Amber Alert. If they truly felt like this child, you know, these children were abducted, to me, I would think that an Amber Alert would be going out for sure. But I don't think that they believe that.
So, I mean, you're married. Have you ever had an occasion where you were sick and you couldn't sleep and you got up and husband woke up the next day and had no idea that you had such a rough night because he slept so solid?
Absolutely. Happens all the time, actually.
I mean, the fact that they're saying that they were together, okay, right, and they're saying they're dozing in and out of sleep, but maybe they weren't. Maybe one of them was sleeping solid. I don't buy that. If something like that happened, I think it would have been on the Wednesday night with my theory.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, actually, Sharmain, I need to be right back. Do you want to talk about your theory about what you're thinking about it all?
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
My brain went, and I can't remember what case it was, but it was something very recently, and it's happened many times before, where, because I heard that there was a big party there, and then another neighbor said that she didn't even know that there were kids living in that house, that it was a drug house. So being that there was a party, I thought, my first instinct was that somebody probably left drugs out and the kids probably maybe ate them and overdosed. And one or both of the parents woke up and saw them and panicked and did what stupid people do when accidents happen, even though it's a terrible accident, stupid accident. But I think that could have something that could hold some water, really, that they had an accidental overdose. Shockingly, I think the parents might leave stuff sitting around. So that's just where my mind went. Do I think that they maliciously did something to the kids? I don't. And with him, with Daniel, I think that his emotion is genuine and he's putting in real effort to try to find something. But that could be because he knows where they are and he's staying within the search area where they are not, and he knows it. Or he's not the one that found them and maybe she took them or something. And then the other scenario that I'm sure the police are looking into is if his brother lives on the property with his mom, with their mom in that RV that we saw in that one picture. I don't know, what kind of person is he? Would he have done something to get her? I mean, I've also heard that he doesn't live there. He was just at that party and passed out at his mom's RV that night. But I mean, I don't know. That's where my twisted mind goes. What about you guys? Dog senses? Dogs?
And Sharmain, I'm just going to play out the rest of his, because the rest of it is his videos. So I'm just going to play that out, okay? As people can answer.
How long is it?
I don't know. It doesn't show me.
Are you going to be back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll probably be here, but I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, go get it. Yep, go ahead. I'll just play it out.
Very stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning when we noticed that the children were gone. Immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there. I'm out here still searching, still fighting to try to find them. That's all I can do.
The message is still, if anyone knows anything?
If anybody knows anything, just come forward as soon as possible. 2 little kids are still out there. I want to find them. That's really all I can do. Still searching every day. I'm waiting for information. I have to let them do a lot of their stuff with the aircrafts and everything else, and dogs and searchers. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be coordinated, and I can't just go running through the woods. I want to, but I just can't right now because the search is just so far out. We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day, we did. Even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming as loud as I can, until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist. And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back in the woods until a man dressed in a military outfit said I could go back into the woods.
4 days into the search for his missing stepkids, Lily and Jack Sullivan, Daniel Martell is pleading with the public to keep their eyes peeled. But he has begun to lose hope they are anywhere in the vicinity.
They hate being wet and cold, so they immediately would have came right back into the house. The only 2 prints are right beside the house facing the road, and then that's it.
Martell wants the search to be extended to include provincial borders in case the children were abducted, a reality he says is becoming more and more likely.
Post any officers they can get at the New Brunswick border, and PI border, and get them at every airport possible.
Martell confirmed that when the 2 children went missing from the home behind me, Lily was wearing a pink shirt and pink rain boots. She was also carrying a white backpack with strawberries on it. Martell says although he didn't see Jack that morning, he is believed to be wearing a brown shirt, brown pants with a pull-up diaper on underneath, and blue rain boots with dinosaurs on them. He also refuted the claim that the 2 children are nonverbal, saying while they are on the autism spectrum, they are quite trusting and say hi to everyone. According to Martell, his side of the family are currently the only ones at ground zero after Lily and Jack's mother left the county Saturday. But still, he remains, begging anyone with answers to come forward and bring his children home safe.
Anybody who has any information, or you think you've seen something or hear something, or any messages from friends about hearing something, just contact your local police services. Anything, guys. Anything.
Ella MacDonald, Global News, Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia.
You said they're flying in someone to do a polygraph test. Is that on you?
That's not just on me, but on everyone. That's what I asked for. I asked for that so early on, and there's not many places that do it in Canada, so they're flying somebody in.
Why do you think you need to do that? Do you think they don't believe you?
I think their side of the family doesn't believe me, and I just want to clear it up for everyone. Clear it up for everyone, not just the people online making crazy accusations. And
that's pretty much his. Besides the one I played that interview in the the start of this. Okay, so you guys on this one, what are you thinking about Daniel Martell here? So what's your thoughts on that, Sharmain? Thing is, he is doing what we would expect the mother to have done, which is saying, you know what, please help if anyone knows anything, whatever. He's like, it's bugging me that he's doing these interviews. They're not even his children. And why does it seem like he's shedding more tears than, because we all know, okay, so we know men, right? Men try to mask their emotions. They do not like to cry. They do not like to be seen crying typically. And they try to hold back tears. It's just different than typically a female for sure. Most men do that. It's kind of like the minute they start, all of a sudden their hand goes up there. And it's like, try to get back. But what's your feeling on Danielle? And what do you guys think about Danielle?
This is a really hard one for me. I feel like everything he's doing, he's kind of doing everything right. But I've been duped before.
Right.
Some people are manipulative and really, really good liars. And like I said while you were away, he could be, searching so hard in the search area because he knows that they're not there. But having said that, I do honestly think that his emotion is genuine, but we don't know where that comes from. Is it because he knows something? We have to remember that they were in a relationship for 3 years. So when Jack was 1 year old and Lily was 3. So they do get bonded, like step parents. They do become attached. And from what I understand, bio dad was in jail. He wasn't around too much. So this was their father figure. And men do, like they have emotions, especially in a situation like this. This is how I would expect. This reminds me of Seth. So I've been duped before, so I'm not 100% on board, but he's doing everything right.
So the case of Suzanne Morphew, right? Barry acting like, okay, we all know Barry Morphew's guilty of killing his wife, Suzanne Morphew. Okay, that's just facts right there. Even though he has not been convicted of it, he was, anyways, that's just a whole case in itself. Regardless, it's kind of like the O.J. Simpson case, right? Is that, he did it and he got off. Barry Morphew, maybe he'll never be actually charged again for Suzanne's murder, and maybe he will. But Barry was out there, pretending to be looking for Suzanne and doing that stuff. So again, right.
Because he knew exactly where she was.
Right. Right.
But I don't know that
right. With him, I'm torn. I'm actually torn because my gut feeling, says that he's actually being genuine. I feel like I keep trying to lean towards genuine, but then I keep getting held back a little bit as well. Because first of all, even the people that are very intuitive and have strong sense of people and perception by their words and by how they sound and what they're saying and stuff like that. So for me, she to me is totally came off as contrived, that it was, her whole interview was strange. It was red flags and whatever. For him, I look into his eyes. I'm looking and trying to look into, his emotions to match that. what he's saying,
And
and
the facial expressions too, to go along with it. Like it's, look
and
at his
eye
face. To me,
contact.
that's genuine. And to keep on talking to the media, I mean, it's really hard to keep up a facade. And yes, thank you, Lonnie Simons. And this whole case reminds me of Lo Quinton. It really does.
And that's the same thing with Bebop too. It's kind of like, I. It's almost like I said, I'm feeling like that. I want to feel like he's being genuine and honest. And in my head, I'm like, why is he doing all of this while Mama's nowhere to be seen or heard from?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can only hide from the whole don't talk to the media. These are 2 children that are missing.
You know what? You don't have to talk to the media to have your mother watch the baby while you go out and look for your other kids. That doesn't include talking to the media. If the law enforcement told her and not him to talk to the media, I mean, I'm sorry, I call bullshit. I do.
So
because law enforcement says you don't have to talk to the media if you don't want to.
Right, if you don't want to. Yeah.
Right.
So where do you think? Okay. So children abducted? Yes or no, guys? Yes or no? I should have done a poll earlier. Yes. Yes for 1, 2 for no. Abducted. And Sharmain, what did you think that you thought happened to the kids? What do you think that they like? What do you think happened? Like, do you think parents? Okay, do you believe that they're in the woods?
Yes.
Buried.
Or in water. I would love to see a map of the whole area instead of just the neighborhood like we've seen everywhere. But I just feel the first thing I thought of was they probably left some kind of narcotic or something laying around, maybe pills, maybe powder, maybe something, and the kids got into it and overdosed. And one of them, probably mom, woke up, found them, and panicked and put them away, said they were at school, whatever, whatnot. I don't know.
So then that would kind of mean that this is a facade, because obviously she can't do this.
No, because he works 1 day a week. His hours have been cut, but he still works 1 day a week at a sawmill. So there is, I don't know what day a week,
right?
But there is time when he's not there, and you can't tell me that he doesn't go anywhere or do anything ever. She is a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, but the story is, by both of them, that they were sleeping and she was in and out. They wake up, like that Lily was coming into the room a few times and they could hear Jack in the kitchen type of thing making noise. And then they get up, and that was around 8 o'clock. And then around, say, 10 o'clock is when, I think it was 9:40 that they called the police. It was, but he has to be part of this picture that day, because they're both saying that they went out the sliding door and just disappeared. But,
and absolutely. And up until today, I thought that they had come up with the story together and they both knew what had happened. And I never once thought that they snapped or were abusive. Neglectful, yes, and I guess in a way that's abusive, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they physically did something to the kids that ended their lives. I think that it was neglectful behavior, and something happened where they weren't being watched and something terrible happened. And up until today, I thought that they come up with this whole thing together, and that, they know exactly where they are, and that's why he's so comfortable searching with them. Why he's volunteering to be, that's the big one for me. Volunteered to take a polygraph as long as everybody else is going to do one too. And then just his consistent, genuine emotions and words and talking to the media. His story's not changing. There are green flags with him, but
actually, I'm going to have to bring this up the other way. Let me bring it up the other way. Share screen. Because when I
And the boot print that they talked about was found, I believe, towards the edge of the driveway, but they couldn't confirm that it was a child's boot print because of the rain and such. They did have dogs out there, and they picked up their scent, but it ended at the end of the driveway. But they live there, so that's not too strange. It is strange that they didn't pick up their scent going into the woods. And to me, it's a little bit strange that if the police are so, they're comfortable enough going on national TV and saying that the likelihood of them being alive is very low, it's strange to me that they haven't brought in cadaver dogs yet. And I know that they have to come from Quebec. I get that, but we're on day 7 now, people. Those cadaver dogs should have been here on day 5 if they knew that this is the way it was going. So.
Okay, now this post Sharmain had sent me earlier, anonymous participant out of the missing Lily and Jack Sullivan discussion. It says, I'm just going to put this out there. I know the stepfather for a very long time, and he has never once shown me any signs of anger. He was always good to the kids and does not do any heavy drugs. He's a very kind, polite guy, and I'm not just saying this because I know him, but I don't think he had anything to do with this. He has been following all the police orders, let them search the property over and over. He offered them a drug test and a lie detector test. He also gave them his laptop and cell phone to be looked at because he has nothing to hide. When this all comes out, he didn't do it. I hope a lot of you are ashamed of yourselves. He took care of those kids more than the mother did. I actually believe that, because that's kind of, to me, what we're seeing here. I believe, Sharmain. We're seeing a person that's not the biological dad putting more effort in than the actual mother that gave birth to these 2 children. So that, to me, that's kind of coinciding with what this person is saying. Sometimes, and plus, he not only that, back in 2011, he had some sort of, minor drug charge for like whatever it was, nothing major, and it was dropped. Other than that, he doesn't have a criminal record. Sometimes the nicest people can be monsters, and I understand that, but I can honestly say I don't think he would ever do this. I think he was probably threatened really bad. If he says something, he may die, or he just really doesn't know what happened. Well, I think the first part is a little bit extreme. If I was in the States, I'd probably say that more so, but I wouldn't say that more so in Canada, to be honest with you. He's out there looking for them hours and hours. The mom isn't even caring to look. Which reminds me, I just want to touch on something quickly. That was horrific what happened in Vancouver to the Filipinos that were celebrating downtown. And this guy literally goes in and just drives through the crowd. That's something you always hear about in the United States. You don't hear about those things happening in Canada. Why? You guys got 300 million more people than we do, right? We might have vast land, but United States, they have a ton more people, hence why we see a ton more crime. You guys have different gun laws, you guys have different things, but typically every time you wake up, there's some sort of mass shooting somewhere in the United States, some sort of craziness going on, because like I said, it's a whole different ball of wax for the population. Canada, you have these rarities. You hear stuff, yes, people die, gangs and different things, but to hear of somebody driving through a crowd, anyway, so I just wanted to say prayers to all those family and the people that died because of that psychotic loser that decided to rampage through the celebration and take out innocent lives. Anyways, you know what story I'm talking about, right?
I do, yeah. And something similar did happen in Edmonton a few years back. But people say that it's because it's so hard to get guns here. If people want to do mass killings, then they're going to find a way. And a vehicle is a great deadly weapon if it's used correctly, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
If you can't get a gun, what are you going to do? Can't go around and stab 100 people, but you can sure run them over.
use your vehicle. Anyways, that was very, very sad. Very sad. Anyways, so going back to this. So basically, this person saying that they know, I've known him for a long time. But do you like? To me, it kind of goes with what's being shown to us, that he does seem to be putting the more care in here to these children that actually aren't his. Why? Because probably, like, if I was to guess, and this is just a guess, or if I was to assume, uh, I'm thinking that he probably she's probably pretty lazy, and he probably does take care of the children better. But by the same token, do I think that those children are being raised healthy, with wellness and everything like that? No, I don't feel that. I feel like that they're from a very broken down type of home. But I can see that this person's post would make sense to what we're seeing. What do you think?
I agree, but you know what I'm like. I always think that there's something fishy with everything. I question everything. It doesn't matter what it is. So as much as this kind of fits what we're seeing, anonymous participant makes me wonder who it was. Did he write this himself? Like I said, I'm a very untrusting person.
Yeah,
Pay no attention. But
Charmaine's probably more untrusting than I am, for sure. I'm untrusting, but Charmaine's on I think a higher level of untrusting. But
yeah, look, I question everything. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how nice it is. I always question, and I don't know why I'm the way I am. But this is too perfect. This is like wrapped up in a little bow. See, this person that I know just said all this great stuff about me, and it's exactly how I've been acting this whole time. And it's just too neat and tidy for me. It could have been his mother that wrote it. I don't know.
maybe, to be honest with you, so this particular post, I'm taking at face value. I feel like there's a lot of truth in there. I believe just the main thing I'm going off of is that the actions of him versus the mother are at least representative of this. And I get what you're saying is that maybe his mother wrote this, maybe a best friend wrote it and stuff like that, but there's that birthday party video. Okay. Let's hide that. Let's go back to, let me see if I can, 1 second here, video file.
And I mean, he seems very doting, and he's the one that kind of describes in detail what they could have been wearing, and he does seem like a more attentive parent than the mom.
If I had to guess, I'm going to say yeah, to be honest with you. I'm just going to try to, this is Plunder's video. If you guys haven't seen Plunder or don't know who Plunder is, you guys should really subscribe. Plunder compacts a ton of information into her videos. She does a really excellent job. And I love the fact, so Plunder I've known from many other cases. Suzanne Morphew is where I came to know of Plunder, Paula Mooney. And is it McNoon Mooney? Yeah, Paula Mooney, I think it's called. But anyways, so before, when she would make videos, like some people, they did videos, but they didn't show themselves. And I remember thinking to myself, like, Paula, I'm not going to lie, Paula, you put me to sleep many a times, because Paula has a very monotone voice that's basically the same to me. And then something happened with her channel where YouTube, basically she had to restart her channel. She deleted all her videos and had to go from ground. And I think that was when YouTube was requiring that you had to basically show that you were literally the individual that's running the channel. But anyways, I love the fact that Paula now is always on the videos, that she puts herself there to be seen, and she does it this way. Because honestly, when you want to connect with an audience, I want to see you. I don't care if sometimes you're off screen, but I really hate talking to avatars. I don't like it. Like, I don't mind that guests go to avatars during times throughout the live like I do and stuff like that. But to spend usually the whole time as an avatar, you don't connect properly to me. I'm one of those people that I'd rather talk to you in person or on the phone than through text and stuff like that. Because I just like to, do it right then and there.
Yeah.
But so I really appreciate. But Paula, if you guys don't know, like I said, who she is, she compacts a lot of information. Her and the docket, a lot of times, like the docket on Twitter, and he has his YouTube channel, the docket as well. That's Eric. Really great people. A lot of times, him and Paula, go together and pay for video footage and different stuff from different cases and stuff like that.
Tons
And
of stuff with the Matty Soto case.
yeah,
Stuff
Matty
she's
Soto.
got tons.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool too that the drunk turkey had on oh my god.
Gonzalez?
Yes. The father of Kaylee.
Yeah, he had. Oh yes, it was Steve, and then the interview room actually had both of them on. But yeah, Drunk Turkey did a really, really good show the other night.
Yeah, really I mean usually it's just him that's on it now, but usually like before it was like Big Blue and that, but you don't really see them so much anymore. And he had a nasty dog attack, his own dog attacked him, eh? Oh my god. That was gross. That was gross. His arm, how much his dog tore his arm apart. I'm just trying to find the birthday party one. Did I go buy it? I think I went by it. Darn it. Sorry, but this was a long video. And I was going to play a lot of this, or quite a bit of this today. But then I opted not to, but it's a really great video. Anyways, come on, we got to find the birthday party video. I know I've missed it. I had to have missed it. Darn it all. Sharmain, tell me if you see it. Come on. People have been playing that video. My arm's getting sore going back and forth. Because there's a picture of it. Am I going too fast? No. Come on. I can't remember what part of the video this was.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I know it's out there. I know Evil Exists has it on his channel as well. And wait, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So listen to Paula from Plunder for a moment.
There's a number 2 on the cake. I believe it's a celebration of when Jack turned 2. Now the little girl screaming her head off reportedly is Lily.
Liam, come sing. I got him. Get up here.
What? My birthday.
Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Jack. Lily. Stop, honey. Blow it, go.
Okay. So, let's see here. Let's go back to maybe. Come on. Okay, well, we'll just leave it there. Okay. You've seen this video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys, I know, Jesus, my ears are bleeding. Absolutely. Okay. So, what did you make out of how Jack was reacting to Lily screaming?
Yeah, he seemed kind of used to it almost, but just watching his sister, it was, and it's cute, but I don't know, I just feel like Daniel is pretty attentive. Like, he's interested in what's going on. He thought to move the pop can, just little things like that. I don't see that he's a real bad guy.
Me neither, actually. So, it's kind of like, because my husband, he'd be out of that room so fast if he had to listen to that.
Yeah.
Parents, I mean, we're used to that. That's a high pitched squeal right there.
It sure
Um,
is.
to be honest with you, I'm sure he was kind of like, I didn't overly read a lot into his expression besides the fact of, there's people obviously on the other side of this camera here, and he isn't the father, but it's kind of like he's just letting her do her thing and kind of giving that look like a
It
little
didn't
bit.
even phase him. Like he didn't
No,
even.
it didn't. Honestly, it didn't honestly seem to phase him, and that's probably the perfect word I was looking for. Is that it didn't seem to phase him, and then like you said, and then he just nonchalantly moves over the pop, and it's kind of like then the one person, whoever it was, saying, Lily, stop, Lily, stop screaming, type of thing. But yeah, it's almost just like another day, another another child screaming type thing, but.
Yeah.
I didn't read much into that myself.
Not at all. Not at all. And for the little girl to be comfortable enough to scream knowing he's right there, I mean, I shouldn't read too much into that either, but there's no red flags here whatsoever. And yes, it is only a year into the relationship.
Sorry, 1 second.
3 years a year.
3 years.
Now this is when
Oh,
Jack
you're
turned,
right.
so
You're right. Yes, right. Jack was 2.
mhm.
Yeah. So about a year into the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
But mama's over there, like it's almost like too, like, and it kind of reminded me of, like, probably if that was happening and nobody else was around, he'd be like, Lily, knock it off, stop yelling and screaming. But when there's other people around, people kind of don't necessarily do how they would typically
Yeah.
act, because there's other people around. So I'm probably sure that that's what he kind of reminded me of, like, okay, she's squealing, okay, and then I almost feel like he's just like, hello, like, do something about it, like, in a
Mhm.
sense, because he does have that look on his face, like, oh, she's just going. And
Yeah, but
then,
it's also not, he's not like reacting and trying to get her to stop, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I'm
like,
sure your ex was, my ex was, just
I don't like to read too much into things if they're not there. And if either you get a vibe or you don't get a vibe, and some people, like, we all know that there's people in true crime that they'll pick apart and decipher everything. And honestly, sometimes some of these people, their thoughts are from outer space. Sometimes you wonder how they were born, how they were the strongest swimmers, how they even managed to find true crime. Was it just by accident, and they hit their head and somehow got into true crime,
Mhm.
because sometimes some of the speculation that people do on stuff, it's just, and how, like, it's like when they take something small or something nominal and then they twist it into this big elongated story of how that could have happened, like his facial expressions or whatever, like that. I just like to watch something the first time, initially, kind of look at it. I'll go back usually and watch it again, just to, just see anything that I was missing or whatever. But my instinct when I watched this was, like you said, it was just, there was no bad vibes going off about him. It was just somebody that was listening to this child scream, that kind of looking for maybe the other adults to say something, since he's not the biological father.
Yeah.
It's been a year, but he doesn't seem phased,
not
but I'm sure that had they been just him and the kids and Mihaela there, that it would have been like, knock it off, stop screaming. But I do take him for the bigger empath of the two, um, because he has at least interviews to kind of keep looking at. She has one, and the one interview that she has, it's red flag city to me on this. And it could have been something like what you're saying, that that the children like, who knows if there was, some drugs in the house and the children got into it, and a true accident happened out of all this, and it became a cover up. Maybe there wasn't. I can't see them being missing in the woods. I could see them maybe being buried in the woods, but not missing in the woods, because I feel like absolutely different from Sebastian somewhat is that I feel like we're not talking about a teenager like Sebastian. We're talking about 6-year-old, 4-year-old. How far are they truly going to get? Right? Like, truly.
Not
Without once churches come in and stuff like that. I can't. What the heck is that noise that's coming from your computer? Sounded like a race car going by. Is it a motorcycle?
Yeah, it's right outside.
Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, so I'm not sure what you guys think, because we're all, each have our own brain cells, and some of them travel a little further, freaking up south than other people's. But at the end of the day, these two children, okay, do you guys believe that Lily and Jack are with us still? If you do, well, just yes or no, to be honest with you. Sharmain?
I don't. I really don't. I think it's more than unlikely.
I don't think that they are either.
As sad as it is, but it's day 7, and they're babies. They're babies. Sebastian is a child. These are babies.
Mm-hmm. Mark thinks that they are. The whole thing is suspicious, and I feel the children are not alive. That's in the simplest form, Bebop. That's correct. There's the mother's interview in itself shows that. Could we be wrong on that? Absolutely. I pray that we are. I pray that those children are still alive, but that's, wishful thinking. It's like we're talking about a 6-year-old and 4-year-old. I don't feel.
At the same time, if they are alive, I think we can all agree that they're not out in the woods fending for themselves, building shelters and foraging for food. I mean, if they're still alive, it's because they were taken somewhere, and hopefully, maybe, possibly in some strange way being taken care of. But I don't like that scenario either. I really don't. It's scary to think of.
So
yes, bodies of water are around there.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, we can. So this is an older, like, this is like, even though this is current, it's like an older. Well, hold on. We'll go to Jack and Lily's. Hold on. Let me go back out of that for a second. So obviously you can tell this is the same property, but it's totally changed. But that's what Google Earth has for the property. But I mean, if anyone knows Canada and and this type of living, this kind, well, in a saying that though, this kind of reminds me of Summer Wells that way, that they had this property within the trees, and all of a sudden, Summer Wells just disappears, but to me, just like I don't believe Summer Wells was abducted, this kind of living, to think that these children that don't typically go outside without the special parenting that's happening, and then come over to the street, and some sinister pedo happens to, like, honestly, do you honestly feel like these children who don't leave the home and the sliding back doors ever, that suddenly they're going to go to the road, they're going to leave the backyard, go to the road, and then poof, someone magically drives by and just takes them? In this,
so highly unlikely. It's
so highly unlikely. I mean, come on now, right? The next neighbor is way up the road over there. If we go back into come on here. Okay, wait. So come on now. Okay. So Salt Springs Elementary, that's where they went to school. Where they did attend school. Jack and Lily, of course, is here. And then where is gotta get my bearings on me here. All right, where are you? Let me find
Remember,
it.
Nova Scotia is an island, right? Like,
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful, isn't it?
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So Wentworth is an hour, and this is supposedly that it was said that Mihaela went to her mom's home, who lives in Wentworth, and again the children's school there. Jack and Lily here, but obviously there's a bunch of water around here. There's lots of little. It's just like there's water. You know, my goodness.
And the Hurricane Fiona, I mean, there's probably standing water out in the forested area.
Yeah, of course, right? But it's just, I'm just not buying the fact that they went out in the woods and got lost. Because in this particular case, I definitely feel we're talking about two little toddlers, basically 6 years old and 4 years old, right? Who can barely walk fast as it is. And that somehow they managed to get out of the scope of the whole search area. Again, they wouldn't have gotten very far. So what truly happened to these children remains to be seen exactly. Let's see here. Hi, Shirley. Hate for me saying this, but I believe Summer Wells was sold. Sharmain, what do you think about Summer Wells? Let's just quickly sidetrack for a second. What do you feel about Summer Wells' case?
Summer Wells, I don't know if I believe that she was sold, but I do think that she's no longer here. And I don't, I don't know, because you've got the whole swimming hole trip that day and the picture of her sleeping in the bath.
Yeah. With the milk jugs.
I think the answer lies right there somewhere. And then she got home and she helped Grandma plant some stuff, and Grandma gave her some candy. I mean, that could be contrived, or I just don't know. I don't see her. That's a huge property, but it is quite close to the road, and there was a scream, according to a neighbor. And I mean, I don't know what to think about that. And Dawn Wells creeps me the F out.
Yeah. I want to.
Her relationship with that Hunter kid was sketchy. I just, there's so many things that happened in that case that it makes it hard to come up with a very solid opinion, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't know that. I mean, maybe she was sold, but I don't see them cutting all of her hair off and then selling a little girl. Do you know what I mean? Like, just little things like that. Once you piece it all together and you look at it from like a bird's eye view, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Yeah.
1 second. I'm just trying to. I want to screen share.
There would have been little footprints. They would have found the backpack, because we know, okay, so the search area was a 4 kilometer radius, right? And according to the parents, and according to the parents, they realized that they were missing within 20 minutes, and they looked around, and then they called 911 immediately. So to think that the kids got out of a 4 kilometer radius without leaving any boot prints or dropping anything, it didn't happen. And I strongly believe that law enforcement knows. They know that and I said at the very beginning, it's very strange. It's very out of the usual for law enforcement to go on TV and say the likelihood that these children are alive is very low. That's not very common. So to me, and I could be wrong, but to me, that could have been something where law enforcement was trying to rattle the parents, trying to get one of them to talk. Because they wouldn't have scaled back the search if they thought that they were in the woods, unless they thought that they just might have missed them.
Right.
So, right,
Now-
Bebop. Just it didn't happen like that. Law enforcement said what, Mark? That the likelihood that they're still alive is very low. They did say that. They came out and they said that when they announced that they were scaling back the search. And that's extraordinarily uncommon, especially after it was only day 6.
Yeah, they literally said that in the press conference, wasn't it?
Yeah, they did. And
I heard them say that.
It doesn't happen, and I feel like they said that way to rattle the parents, to try to get one or both of them to start talking and ratting on the other. And being that they've broken up and she's blocked him on social media and she got rid of her Facebook and she's not living there and she took the baby, it's not law enforcement's fault, don't get me wrong, but they're probably using all of that as tools to try to get one or both of them to talk, because the kids there were 200 people searching a 4-kilometer radius for 5 days, solid 5 days, plus the first day, plus the end of the 6th day. They didn't find anything. They found a possible boot print on the property. I mean, they're not out there. They're just not out there. And if they are out there, they didn't walk out there.
And specifically the, RCMP or whatever, the police, they're literally saying, like, during the press conference, like, that they basically do not believe that they're alive now, like, at this point. Why would they issue an Amber Alert? That's not where they're going with this case.
No.
It's not an Amber Alert. It's, like Sharmain was saying, right? It's basic. To me, that's basically like saying, like, it's not an Amber Alert.
It wasn't an abduction.
Yeah, it's not an abduction. I believe that we are now looking for bodies of the children.
Yeah.
And that's, because again, they would have issued an Amber Alert if, like, they wouldn't have even said that if there was a possibility.
I've never heard that before with a child. With adults, sure, after a few weeks or months or whatever, sure. Presumed dead, no proof of life, no footprint, no nothing. Sure, they say that about adults, but I can't think of one case in Canada or the US where after 6 days, law enforcement comes out and says that. That is so unusual. That I think that they know something happened, probably inside the house, and they're not buying what mom is selling, and they're trying to get them to talk. And it's unfortunate. And they wouldn't have said it if they didn't believe it. But for them to say it on TV, that's different.
Saying a lot. It's saying a lot.
It says a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wanted to screen share this with you because I really like this post that you sent me, Sharmain, when it comes to this. But what does this mean? So that, of course, is Daniel and Malaya in Happier Days. Okay, so 1 second here. God, I'm trying to get you. Where's that whole thing? YouTube had this whole thing where it was, or maybe, hold on, let me just remove that. Oh, where'd that button go? There was a button that I could just click in the background here, but whatever. Image file, 1 second. And, okay, so I think this is the first one here. Okay. See, the thing is that although they've made this kind of neat for StreamYard, it's not like I can zoom in on when I bring it in this way. Okay. trick me. She's trying to force me to put on glasses here. Freaking then they're blurry as shit, the glasses too. Fine. Let's see. See, like, no, like, I can see it, but no, I can't even. Hold on. Let's see. No, I can read it, but no, whatever. There's no doubt that the integrational trauma was a factor in the disappearance of Jack and Lily Sullivan from their home in rural Pictou. Did I say it right? Pictou? Did I say it right? Yeah? It's Pictou, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm muted. Yes, you said it right.
Okay. County last week. We just don't know the whole story yet. As readers will be familiar, Lily 6 and Jack 4 have been missing since May 2nd when police received a 911 call that they had wandered away from their ramshackle, nice way of saying it, ramshackle mini home on a Gairloch Road in Lansdowne Station. Okay, hold on. Then there's another one. Remove and present. Share screen. No, not share screen. Cancel. Present. Add image. So this one should be next. Okay. The separate interviews. The children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, and stepfather, Daniel Martell, told mainstream media that the children had slipped out the sliding back door while they were still in bed with their 1-year-old daughter. They called the police when they awoke around 10 a.m., which is confusing because at 8 a.m., it was that Lily was coming in and out of the room and she was in and out of comatose there. Integrational trauma exhibit, number 1, Malaya's origins, or we'll say that's supposed to be original story, but she's the daughter of Cindy Murray. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Cindy Murray was doing a lot of talking in Facebook groups. She has since closed down her Facebook pretty much because of, the nastiness of online true crime sleuths and stuff like that, and how mean and cruel people can be. They don't know what they're walking into, most of them, unfortunately. But there's a lot of good out there, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people that really suck in life. Anyways, and Henry Brooks. So Henry Brooks is the father of Malaya, and they are a member of the, and don't even ask me how to freaking say this. Go ahead, Sharmain. Yeah.
Sipakinikitik.
Sure. We'll go with that, okay? And so there's 4, out of Nova Scotia, there's 4 reservations. So although they're all from the same, like, however you want to say it, Mime Tamak or whatever it is called, M-I apostrophe T.
Micmac.
Yeah. How do you say it?
Micmac.
Yeah, that one. So within that, there's like 4 reservations that are for the, we'll just call it the Speeny on their one, out of the reservations in Nova Scotia. Because I did hear it said that that she did go up to, like, so Wentworth, I don't see a reservation exactly around Wentworth. There's the Indian Brook one. There's something called Ross Nut one or whatever it's called. But there's like 4 of them. But none of them seem to be like right near Wentworth. So we heard that she went up to a reservation. So I don't know where, like, it's an hour drive to get to Wentworth from the address of where the house is. So who knows? I'm not exactly sure. It's really, can I just say this, and you guys should know that. It's really hard in Canada to get the information as readily and easily as it is to get information on people in the United States. It's honestly, like, me and Sharmain spent a good chunk of last night, just trying to get a little thread on, like we know that the bio dad's name is Sullivan, but do I know his first name? No. Could I find out anything? I was trying to look up. Hey, is it Cody?
Yeah, I sent it to you this afternoon. And guys, this story here with Grandma and Grandpa's names and bio dad's real name, the thing that I found, that was all today. Up until today,
Yeah.
you couldn't find these names online.
No. Yeah.
Not that they matter,
Well,
but it just helps tell the whole story.
right, and that's what kind of people look for, right? A little bit of story, but it is a lot harder to get information. It's totally different. We're totally different. We're more like the UK that way. We don't readily give free information like you guys got in the States, which is not a good thing, by the way. It's not a good thing. Has the information I can pull up on an individual. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. First Nation, the relationship didn't stick on account of Henry's penchant, whatever, never use that word in my life, for violence. Henry has already started building his rap sheet when Cindy put the run to him in the early aughts.
80s.
80s, is that okay? But Henry wouldn't stay away. Mihaela was barely out of diapers when Henry beat up Cindy and was convicted of assault and forcible entry in 2004, sorry, my bad. As if that wasn't enough to put Henry on the RCMP persons of interest list. Consider. Gotta find the next one. Present. Image file. We should be on this one here. Okay. As if that wasn't enough to put on. Okay, we already read that. Henry's greatest hits. 2014, sentenced to 2 years in federal time for drug trafficking, theft, and weapons charges. 2015, another 6 months in custody plus probation for assault with a weapon and assault causing bodily harm. Which brings up to the last week when Grandpa Henry came out of the woodwork to say, hi. Now, let me see if this is on the other one, because I believe it is. And present image file. Come on now. Let's go. Yeah. See it better here. Okay. So Henry Brooks, baby girl, why didn't you okay. What this man says, okay. Baby girl, why didn't you tell me when this first happened? Please, never hold nothing back from me ever again. I love you, baby. Next time something like this happens, you tell me right away, okay? Next time, Sharmain, that this incident happens again, you just make sure to tell good old dad, because daddy is a tracker. Because baby, I'm a tracker. I'm a tracker.
Good old tracker.
I might be a lot of things, but baby, I'm a tracker. If this ever happens again, and your last child goes missing, you make sure that you tell me so I can track that child down. That made me laugh a bit.
Oh, ridiculous, yeah.
If something like this happens again, you reach out to daddy, dear, because I'm a tracker, okay? Okay, if you're a tracker, so be it. Sounds like you're a lot of other things as well, Henry Brooks.
That's right. With a rap sheet like that, I'm not surprised that she didn't reach out to you there, Daddy.
Yeah, you sound like a real winner. But I mean, I'll kidding aside on that part. But yeah, I mean, obviously, maybe somebody. It says shortly after her kids disappeared, Malaya fled to her mom's Cindy's house in Wentworth. Then she blocked Daniel on social media. Daniel has no criminal record. His only charge was as an adult was simple drug possession in 2011, and it didn't stick. Cindy subsequently confirmed that Malaya's relationship with Daniel has ended. Right. Why? Why, Sharmain? Why do you think this relationship ended?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's totally possible that it was on the rocks before this, because that's an awful thin straw to break, especially when families usually come together, at least for the first little while.
The next day, apparently, there was this argument. She gets kicked off. She heads to her mom's house. You know, but there's a reason behind this. There's a reason. Either it's as simple as accusing, or there's some truth there. There's something in this that has to do to me about the children. But I'm just conflicted, because if I take Daniel for being genuine in his searching and his helping and wanting to take a lie detector test. If I take him for that, then the story wouldn't seem to be that the children just vanished on Friday. I don't know. But yet if he's telling the story as if it was on Friday, to me, like, regardless of what you said earlier, okay? Because, yes, not just yet, last week, my husband was up and about because my husband can get heartburn and he gets it really bad here, but it's more like a pain. Like, it's more like a little bit hard to breathe pain that he gets there. And I had no clue he was up all night wandering around in the bedroom. I was out like a light.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the thing is that they're telling this. They're trying to tell the same story. So I don't know if they're trying to protect each other, like if it's really to do with something accidentally happened to the children and they got into some drugs and whatever, and they ended up dying, like something.
If I'm going to jail, you're going to jail. So no matter what, you better stick to the story. It could be something like that.
Well, that's just it.
I got to step away for like 5 minutes.
Hey?
I got to step away for like 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. While Sharmain does that, I'm going to play a little bit of Plunder video. I'm going to go just from the start, you guys, okay? Because I'm gonna step away too, because I've already watched this whole thing. But I'm gonna play off the first little bit of this video. So again, Plunder, if you don't know who she is, please go subscribe to her channel. She does great videos, compact of information, and just actually a great person, to be honest with you, all around. So
make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to.
So the first part of this video, she does have it, you guys, at the end. Again, if you guys want to go watch this whole video later, at the end, like she'll play out all of the scanner stuff, because she said she went through like hours and hours of it, and she picked out what she deemed as the most important things that were, possibly the most relevant things to this case from the scanner. Okay, but love Plunder too. She just like I let content creators use any work that they want from this channel. Plunder does the same thing. But you guys, you always have to give credit where credit's due. And like I said, Plunder, great lady, does a lot of great work. Really, she's just a great podcaster, a YouTube channel. Just so much information she does in the most limited time to put out what she does.
So yeah, I think that's all we kind of have right now. The drone operator is still on scene with the mom, so just make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
So we've got this troubling case out of Nova Scotia, and I was up all hours of the night doing research and just trying to dig through today all this dispatch audio, hours and hours and hours worth of dispatch audio out of Canada. It's regarding the two missing children, Lily and Jack Sullivan. I've heard some pretty interesting things over the dispatch from Friday, May 2nd. That's the day that the children were reported missing. So I wanted to dig and dig and dig and see what I could find. So far, the most interesting thing is that one of the authorities is telling another, the dispatcher is saying, make sure the mom stays close to the house.
Just make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
Make sure the mom stays close to the house. And that's exactly what did not happen. And I'm wondering why. So Lily and Jack Sullivan were last seen on Friday, May 2nd, 2025. So it's been 6 days. Today is Wednesday, May 7th. And that's kind of scary to think about. Young children being missing this long. So now they're trying to put the pieces together on Friday morning. I've heard so many conflicting reports. As you'll hear, or you might have just heard, one dispatcher is saying they were last seen at 8 a.m.
in the bedroom. We called this morning, and they haven't been seen since then. I need to get a good statement and figure stuff out. Corporal McGinnis, can you copy there? I think your portable's spotty. Was that you I heard on here that was going to do a search of the residence again?
Audio.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. They were going to do the property and the residence again.
Copy that.
Property and the residence again. Copy, and just for everyone's awareness, based on the profile, the children could have traveled at least 6 kilometers. So keep that in mind.
Sergeant Young, for your awareness there, media release has been put out and a non-intrusive alert has been sent out to Pictou County.
Perfect, thank you.
At 8:00 a.m. that morning, I've heard that reported twice throughout this dispatch, Friday, May 2nd, but then trying to piece together other reports claim the children were last seen at 10 a.m. I don't know where the confusion is coming in, but this happened at the home of these two people you're about to meet. You're going to see their interviews, the mom and the stepdad, who really isn't a stepdad. The mom calls him her partner.
Just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. Hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them, and they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens, and they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time, and the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store, everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now, but we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued, not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
So unfortunately, this case is reminding some people of a Jennifer Soto, Stephen Stearns type of situation. It's happening in a place called Lansdowne in Nova Scotia. You can hear from the dispatch, I tried to just pick out the most interesting parts related to the case, when they learned the children were missing, how the search began, what conflicting reports are coming out. Over dispatch, you hear someone saying she has no phone reception, but she does have a photo of the two kids. I don't know if they're speaking about the mother at this point. The mother of the two missing children, Lily and Jack Sullivan, her name is Malaya Brooks Murray, and her partner, or the guy they were calling the stepdad, is Daniel Martin. They've both given interviews. It seems like Daniel has given more than Malia has, but I've been searching and searching. I don't know if they're talking about Malia not having phone reception. Supposedly she was the one who called 911, so I'm assuming she would have reception, but there's this Facebook group I've been following, and I put all my sources below, so many Canadian publications, and some people are saying the dad said he went searching first before 911 was called. There's a lot of inconsistencies people are picking up on.
I know they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white with strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods, that'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the two boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
Nothing new, other than the helicopters are still in the air, and they had dogs. They took around the dogs today, and they had...
I'll stop that for a second there. Okay. So what did you say, Mark? So it's pretty much what Sharmain was saying, that she overslept and the kids got lost. Well, I don't believe Sharmain was saying that. Well, maybe the oversleeping part. but as for that, these kids went out of the house and did everything that supposedly they don't do and stuff like that and just got lost, seems rather unlikely. Now, Mark, you requested to hear about that part of the video. So 1 second. And it is in this. She does play the press conference, but I'm just going to go to, let's see here. Okay, so Mark, right here, this is the gentleman that had spoke about it during the press conference. So I'll let you hear what he said there. Just give me a second. Make sure we got good volume. And I'm just going to go back just a tad because I'm already at the part where he's saying it. So I'm just going to go back a tad here. And so listen up. And this is where he says that if he felt like they were still alive, they'd still be out there searching.
It was made based on a lot of factors. And if we thought they were alive right now, we'd still be out there.
Okay. So I'll play a little bit more of that, but that's exactly what was said. If they felt like they were still alive, they would still be out there. Hence,
yeah, but the
other guy,
what are they called? The Serious Crimes Division?
Yeah.
That guy that was in the suit, he actually said the likelihood that they're still alive is very low. He said the exact words.
And yeah, he did say that. You're talking about, hold on, this is at 24:49. You're talking about, where is he? Hold on. 1 second here. Come on, where are you? This guy here, right? Hold on. This guy.
That guy, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me just play his thing out.
Rob McCammon, Robert, and MCCAMON is the last name. So Major Crime became involved very early in the investigation. We're able to bring in some specialized knowledge and skill sets, and we help with the information management and decision making. As we scale back, as we've identified, there are certain areas that are going to be relooked at that could contain a confined area perhaps, and maybe need some more specialized search areas. But I'll leave that to the search crews to expand on. And we're going to continue pursuing any leads or information that comes in, and the stuff that we do have. We have engaged in all areas of the RCMP. All tools that are available to us are being considered and engaged when appropriate.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, and a follow-up that I guess the general population looks at it and says, you've searched very thoroughly this area.
Mm-hmm.
You would have found them
Mm-hmm.
if they were there, which then makes people, certainly on social media, people are assuming, rightly or wrongly, that there's some criminal element to this.
Sure.
And can you, I know, what can you tell me about that? You work on that.
Well, I can't really speculate on the investigation, obviously. That wouldn't be fair to the process. But we are constantly reviewing everything that's been done, looking at all different facets of available information, and we'll make decisions on that. I can't really comment on the details of that, but we will pursue every lead that becomes available and take it to where it needs to go. So.
Thank you. So is there a question? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
You first said it wasn't suspicious. You think the kids just wandered off. Now you're saying every missing person's investigation is considered suspicious. Is it still suspicious? Are there any suspects here?
Again, I'm not going to comment on the details of the investigation, but I will comment when somebody goes missing and we become engaged as any police officer, not just major crime, we will look at all the details and make considerations on the information we have, right? When it comes to a missing person, we have to automatically consider those, are there people that have different charter implications and things like that? So we will automatically start to consider what evidence is pointing us towards a suspicious in nature. Again, I can't comment more than that, but every missing person case, we would approach it from the same process, a methodical collection and review of information with decisions based on that.
And the family has said they believe it's abduction or they suspect it's abduction. Are there now any clues or anything leading you to think that might be possible?
If we had any information that led that way and we felt that we could provide anything with the public, we would have done that. We would have got that information out. We're working very closely with the family and we will pursue every avenue. But again, I'm not going to make any specific comments, but anything that would point towards that, we would immediately take steps to address things that need to be addressed.
I think this question is most appropriate to stop sign. You talked about survival children. I'm wondering if we could address that specifically, given the ages of two missing children and the weather conditions that we experience.
Sharmain?
Yeah. So the incident command.
One sec. Sharmain, how many press conferences were there?
I think this was the only main one, but there is a question and that guy comes back up.
Let's see here. Let's see. Because I thought it was that guy as well.
I remember him saying it, but I didn't hear it there. But I remember him.
Oh, here he is. Hold on. He's coming back up. Let's see.
Do
you want to talk?
Again, I'm not going to comment on specifics of the investigation. We're going to continue on, and when we get to a point that we've got information that we're able to make any decisions that are able to be public, we'll let you know at that time. But right now, I'm not going to comment on specifics.
So, but you don't believe the children are alive and
No, based on the experts and the review of the facts, the inclement weather, the time frames, and their age, the likelihood that they're alive right now is very low.
There you go.
Can I just ask one more question about the scaling back of the search? Are you reducing the number of searchers out there, or is it?
So let's play that part. 1 second. Let's play that part again, because that said exactly what he had said there. I think right here.
Able to make any decisions that are able to be public, we'll let you know at that time. But right now, I'm not going to comment on specifics.
So, but you don't believe the children are alive?
Listen to what he says here.
No, based on the experts and the review of the facts, the inclement weather, the time frames, and their age, the likelihood that they're alive right now is very low.
Okay, and can I just ask one more?
Okay, so, I mean, I think that was clear as day, Mark, about that, eh? Answer was no. And hence then the other guy, had replied back to that. So basically based on the facts, the experts, the information, no. The likelihood of that is pretty low, like you said.
It is heartbreaking, but it's also wildly bizarre that day 6, this isn't like weeks of searching. This isn't like, these are children who don't leave an electronic footprint, who don't have bank cards, they don't have proof of life other than, sightseeing, school, doctor, anything like that. These are children. So for them to come out and say that on day 6, I think says more about the direction of the investigation than, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, if they, it really just goes down to what we said at the start of this. If they felt like this was worthy of an Amber Alert, but that's not the direction that they're going, because like he said, they would have put that information out to us, to everybody. They would have done an Amber Alert if that's what they felt happened, but that's not what they feel happened. They obviously probably are thinking about foul play. So that something had to do with either the stepdad there or the mother, one or both. But honestly, the direction is that those children are no longer alive, and of course, it becomes unwinding the truth of the matter. And if they take all lie detectors, we'll see how that plays out too. Like, we're not going to know. I mean, we'll know if somebody's arrested, obviously, but we all know that tons of people did. I think didn't Chris Watts do one? Build it? Didn't he do one or no? Can't remember. Anyways,
Lie detector? Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He failed it miserably. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so it's all,
I mean, a sociopath can pass one. They mean next to nothing. They really do.
right.
It's an investigative tool
Yeah.
is all it is, right? It's letting the police know if they're going down the right path or not. However, from my understanding, it's not the police that were asking for it. It was Daniel that was saying, I need to clear my name because social media and
right. The social media, her family is
Yeah.
accusing, and he's basically want to clear it. Now, is he guilty? Is he innocent? Who knows? Right? Again, I'm just, I'm over 50% with the fact that I feel like Daniel, I want to believe him. I do want to believe him, but I'm not there to say absolutely he had nothing to do with this. And the reason for that is because, is the story even true at all? That the kids went out this sliding door, yet they couldn't find anything to suggest that there was an abduction. So that's off the table. They would have, put out that Amber Alert if there was an abduction. They would have done all that. Are the kids out in the woods? Nothing showing that. Then it becomes a question of, okay, so where is the truth now? Where is Jack and
If they are out in the woods, how did they get there without leaving any trace?
Of course, because they were carried out there. If they're out there,
Yeah. And usually, if you guys think to pretty much every other press conference ever, if the police say, I'm not going to discuss that part of the investigation, that usually means you're getting hot. You know what I mean? You're getting closer with your questions to what's actually going on. So they don't want to talk. They don't want to compromise. They don't want to do anything that's going to disrupt their investigation. If they did not suspect foul play, they would say that. They just would. They don't, to me, I think they don't know what direction it's going to go, but you never convince me. They said that to try and get the parents to start talking.
I actually disagree. I believe that they know exactly what direction it's going to go.
Now, yes. Well, yeah. But if they had enough evidence to, I don't know, 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 charge them, would have been done. They don't. So what do we do when we don't have enough evidence?
Right.
We try to get a confession, and we don't want to coerce a confession. We don't want a false confession.
Yeah.
So let's just put some pressure on these people. Let's make them think we're on to them, and maybe they'll screw up. Maybe, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this case will not shock me if somebody from that household or both get arrested, to be honest with you. I really feel like that one or both of them, something is going to happen. There's going to be an arrest here.
And it would absolutely floor me if these kids are found in the woods anywhere. Because where are the footprints? They've been missing 1 week today, Melissa.
Like I said, they would, if they were carried into the woods, you know, obviously
So it still have to be beyond the search grid, the 4 kilometer radius that they've been, hundreds of people have been combing those woods for not not overnight. This is 6 full days.
Yeah, but if they're buried, if they're buried under soil, and someone doesn't come across a fresh spot, because you know how it is, right?
Yeah, or the hurricane mess. There's probably, like I said before, standing water. There's trees overturned.
Yeah,
you know.
You got a lot of noise that happens over at your end. I notice. At first, I thought it was your mic. And Melissa, since May 2nd was when they were reported missing. Does it mean it's true? We don't know. Could have been the night before. Could have been 2 days before. Who knows? They weren't in school Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I was going to say because they didn't go to school. And we're not even 100% sure they went to school at all that week.
You know, so unless some family member says, like, yes, I can confirm, I saw the children on Friday morning or Thursday night, you know, type of thing, you know, to lay at least some basis there. But for us, we just don't have that knowledge. Husband, do you need me? 1 second. 1 second.
One possible boot print was found on their property. It possibly was a small child's boot print, but they couldn't confirm it. It wasn't conclusive. And only one, and it was found on the parents' property. So nothing outside the property in any direction. Dogs picked up their scent up until the end of the driveway, and then nothing. So it's almost like they were taken or put into a car or something. It's bizarre. This to me is it's even more bizarre than the Sebastian Rogers disappearance, because Sebastian was 14 years old. He had teenagers would have more of a means to get up and walk away. You all know that I don't believe that's what happened there, but it's possible. It's possible. But in this case, it's not possible that these two little children just happened to go out that silent sliding door and wandered off into the woods in a diaper and pajamas, and no trace of them have been found, not a footprint, not a scent. They're babies. They're not going to get out of a 4 kilometer radius. It's just, it didn't happen. I'm sorry, but I never could. It'll floor me if they're found out there in the woods, unless they fell into, like, maybe a sinkhole or something, or under a down tree that had water in it. Maybe something terrible like that happened. But if not something like that, then it'll floor me if they're found out there. Unless they're buried or purposely placed under a body of water. And it's sad, it is, but they said Sebastian had the means to get up and walk out, and shockingly not seen by any cameras. I mean, it is possible. This is not possible. Right, you're right, Shirley. My bad. He was 15 when he went missing. My stepson was 14 and turned 15. That's probably why I was confused. They did have drones. Is that what you're talking about, Melissa? They did have infrared drones out there. Nothing in Canada will be released at all. And we don't have leaks like you guys do there. Not unless somebody takes a personal drone out there and doesn't get caught. But we do not have the same access to information that you guys do until after the trial is done, unless we want to go into the courtroom. Because it's not televised. No media is allowed in there, no cameras. They're allowed to sketch pictures, but they can't take photographs inside a courtroom. They can't they can live tweet from a courtroom, but it'll be not until that point, unless somebody in the private sector takes a private drone out there. But they did have drones out there for, I think, 3 days. Day 1, day 2, and day 3. Both are, Sharon, they said that, Mom said that they might be autistic. They're not diagnosed, but they might be autistic, and that, how did she put it? Low level autistic? Or slightly autistic? Slightly autistic, and because they can't keep up with kids at school.
There was just quickly there. I caught just a little bit of Dolly, like maybe 10 minutes at best, because he was covering the case. Mob Crew's covering the case. A lot of people are covering the case, actually.
Pascal, Plunder,
Pascal, Grizzly, yeah. But anyways, there was some people that called in from Nova Scotia, from the area and stuff like that, that had called into his show last night. I know that. So, this is just whatever. It's sucks. It's sad. Don't even know what to say, because it's just heartbreaking beyond repair, especially when it turns out that the parents themselves or stepdad or whatever has anything to do with the missing children. It's so different than all these cases we see, and it's just so heartbreaking to look at these beautiful faces that are just beginning their lives, that are just starting out in the world, and all children ever want is just to be loved and cared about, and it's up to us to guide them and do our best for them. And the way that the mom speaks about, like as if they're these on-board parents outside, vigilant, that they would only go outside if they were being watched by them, type of thing. But yet they managed to talk about the clothing. And to me, all I'm thinking is that the reason why they would know about the clothing is if they went to sleep in the clothing. And obviously you would note if you either took yourself or the kids were actually wearing them, the little puddle jumper boots, and then to say that there's a knapsack, strawberry missing. It's just all weird. And if it sounds weird, it's because it is weird. And to me, it's reeking of family. It's just reeking of it, especially with and the mother. But I don't want to say it was intentional, as more as accidental cover up is what it feels like to me. Maybe
100%. I agree 100%. I don't see that, and I'm like not psychic or anything, but I don't feel that either one of them would be physically abusive to the kids to the point that would end their lives. Neglectful, absolutely, without question.
I mean, there's another little baby involved here. right? The one that they have together.
And that's another thing too. And I think it was my daughter actually that brought this up to me. If the inside of the house is as bad as we're all assuming it is, why isn't CPS in there? And why does she still have custody of her? And I think my answer to my daughter was maybe because she was going to stay with her mother, and maybe her mother has a better environment. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, if they had any question or issues or suspicion about her parenting ability, I can't see the baby being left with her. I mean, look at Summer Wells. It didn't take too terribly long for all of her brothers.
Oh my God, Summer Wells home. What a disgusting piece of crap.
Yeah, and as soon as it became public, what is it called in the States? DCS came and took the rest of the kids out.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Like, you want to talk about a shit shack. Summer Wells case. Oh my God, I felt so bad for those children living in.
And it was normal to them, and she didn't mind having to go under the counter and go down a ladder to get into her parents' room where she shared the room. Gross.
Yeah, I don't feel like this home is as bad as
No.
Summer Wells, but I think it's definitely a good half of what you see on the outside. You're definitely probably seeing on the inside. And honestly, it just boils down to laziness. Laziness is really what it all boils down to. Lazy, to clean up the yard, lazy to keep it intact properly, lazy to clean the house. She doesn't look
considering that neither one of them work full time.
Right.
Not that having 3 kids isn't a full-time job, but you know what I mean. Like, he works one day a week, and between the two of them, they could probably do a little bit better than that.
Yeah, that's just exactly it. I just, I'm sorry, but when you have children, your life becomes about your children. Simple as that. And anyone that puts themselves ahead of their children, I'm sorry, I disagree. Absolutely disagree. Children first.
Yeah.
And you take care of anything else, but it's always about your children, and which encompasses everything. Just like my son, right? When he has his child, my hope is that when you have a child, then you have a full understanding of what unconditional love is supposed to be like. So for my son always shitting on me all these years and stuff that's been so unwarranted, but it's how the path has gone. But I'm truly hoping that even though you think at 28 you would be mature, but I'm truly hoping guys don't usually mature to 35, to be honest with you. Females,
no.
But I'm just hoping that when you have your own child, and now that he has his own child, you'll do anything to protect that child. A true parent does. A true parent does. The minute that child is born, it's your job from then and there to make sure that that child is brought up in a healthy, loving, caring environment, because they need those tools to succeed. And so when they're talking about that these kids are slightly autistic, I'm sorry, but shut the fucking front door on that one, because that's being undiagnosed, and you're diagnosing that yourself. Because what did Google tell you that? To me, that's probably coming from the lack of proper attention and care at home. That to sit there and rate a parent's level. But do you know what I mean? But again, it's our job to ensure that that they have every tool that they can to go to school, to have the knowledge, to help your kids, to help them move forward, right? Learning to walk, learning to talk, learning to do all those things, that's our job. So I can see that lacking for just as I'm just assuming here, but I see that lacking. And I think that the kids aren't caught up, not because of some self-diagnosed low autistic spectrum, but because that the parents just aren't providing that type of structure in their life and I can probably guarantee you, like I've said earlier in the this live, I wouldn't doubt that there's quite a few sick days on those children's
Yeah, and
records.
if your kids aren't socialized, if they don't participate in group activities with other kids, I mean, they could be, a little slower than other kids. That doesn't mean they're autistic, for crying out loud.
Yeah, the self-diagnosed though. So, I
There's
have a
zero
huge.
transparency here, Mark. We're not even allowed to post news stories on Facebook. I tried to send a Canadian news story to somebody that lives in the States about this case, and because of our laws, I couldn't
because of our
post that
dumb
link.
laws now with Facebook and shit.
Yeah, like I had to take screenshots of every page of that story just to share it with somebody in the States.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah. Sharmain, I was going to say, from anything that you sent me earlier, is there anything that you specifically want me to show before? Because we're going to wrap this up right quick here. So I just wasn't sure, like this. I think if that's a story that you're referring to, was the one that you had to take screenshots. Was that you referring to me?
Yeah, that was one of them, and then there was another one that I sent you everything I had, but.
Well, I was going to say, but was there anything specific that you yourself wanted me to show that I haven't? Because I know you sent me a bit of stuff. I sent you some stuff. Let's take a look here. I got that.
Really, I'm surprised nobody at the in chat asked about garbage days, and Sonny and I did look into that, and garbage day didn't hit till Wednesday, so well after the kids went, unless
it was a Wednesday,
and it happened on Wednesday,
right?
But they're not checking any landfills or anything like that.
My whole perception, just by what the investigators and RCMP, whatever, and whoever that guy was, what was he from? What team was he from? You said security site. What was it? Like CSI almost team or whatever it was.
Serious crimes investigator, something like that. Serious. I can't ever remember.
CSI, SCI. Is that the children are no longer alive. They don't believe that they were abducted, or there would be an Amber Alert out. And basically, it's a recovery mission that they're basically moving towards, and that these children are, like I said, are no longer with us. And so, hence, scaling back by the experts, like you said, by the all the information that has come in, that if they felt like they were alive, they wouldn't be pulling back on the case or on the searching out there. And that now it's more probably the focus of finding out what happened truly to Jack and Lily Sullivan. And that is just heartbreaking to even say those words. It just, I can't stress this enough, how much I despise these cases that have to do with children that have been a product of either, missing, murdered, neglected, just, these crazy stories. Like, remember the, what was that? The party, something of eight, the eight something encounter, whatever it was, the, with the kids and the freaking, it's like their names are on the tip of my tongue. The eight, something of eight. I know you know which one I'm talking about, Sharon, but I'm just not saying it right. Got to. Sorry if it's not our ass.
Canadian?
No, not Canadian. The American, like the kids.
Are you talking about the ranch where he...
Yeah, I'm talking about the one where the mother and that other lady, Jody, and she had
yes.
something of eight. Something of eight.
Yeah. Jody Hildebrandt and...
Yes.
Passengers.
Right, thank you. 8 passengers. And it drives me crazy, right? Like I said, Jennifer Soto, Sorry, Maddie. So what is it? Sorry, Jennifer. No,
Maddie
Maddie.
Soto. The mom is Jennifer.
Yeah, that's right. And what was the girl's name before that? Oh my God, too many names, too many kids, too many stories. The one that was just before Maddie Soto's, little blonde-haired girl, the one that was
Yeah.
found in the water.
Was it
Abigail,
Haley or?
yeah, you guys would know. And Mark, just quickly to answer you, honestly, like I said, I've been spending my typically like I have Friday, Saturday off. I typically either am spending it with my husband or at my twin sister's home, and I'm just chilling and relaxing from doing true crime. To be honest with you, just I have to feel it, and it wasn't like I had planned to take over a month off before I did this live. I just, I just
Yes.
I just didn't feel like doing a live. Melissa's been sick, and like I said, so while Melissa was sick there, and you guys know, covering Sebastian's whatever case and stuff like that, and Alexa's been doing her thing, and Sharmain has her, stuff going on. She was coming back to BC and stuff like that, and I was just deciding that I was gonna kind of I just didn't feel like it. Every time I went to go think to do a live, I just wasn't in the mood to do a live. And I think it was just because my brain just became like mush. When you just don't want to do something, not because you don't care, but you're just tired. Unlike, unfortunately,
How many years did you do lives? At least once, twice, 5, 6, 7 times a week.
I know.
Like, you
Yeah.
deserve a break.
It's just like, yeah, after a while, you just go like, you know what, you know, uh, YouTube, obviously, like there was a while there where I was without a job and stuff like that for about a year and a half. And, that kind of sucked. And, but I have to always, no matter what, I have to be true to who I am. And it's not about not caring, but I mean, I have to obviously take care of myself as well. And I've been enjoying the sun that's been out there. I've been, like I said, Temu shopping like crazy. Um, just doing regular everyday stuff, working, and then you're tired some days because you have to get up at 4:30 because I have to be in office for 6, so I have to get up at 4:30, fight with my husband and brother-in-law for bathroom time and stuff like that. And then I get home and I just don't feel like it. Sometimes you just go through those spurts. So I've just been going through that spurt, and I don't know if when my next live will be, to be honest with you. But I'm glad that Melissa doesn't have cancer. But I'm she's still struggling a lot with health issues going on. And yeah, and you know, what will be, will be. I'll do what I do. Right. Some people, it's their job to come on here every day and make money off of YouTube. And hey, that's their job. However they want to earn it, then so be it. Whatever. It's not my way for a lot of some of these people, but for another people, they do a great job. And like Plunder, she's I think a reporter in Real, but she does her YouTube channel and she does a good job at it. So hey, you know what? As to me, it's one of those things, though, Sharmain. As long as people have their morals intact, to me, that's what I look for. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the viewer looks for of people, but for me, it's always about that. I always have to live to what I think is the proper way to do things, in a sense. And money is never at the forefront of my head. Doesn't matter if I'm broke as ass and whatever. Well, maybe it's a little bit more then, but or if I have, a bit of money in the bank. Doesn't matter. I'd never do anything for the sake of just earning money for the sake of earning money. Have to be truthful to that. And yeah, so I just have to always stay real to who I am. It's my way. It's the way I have to be. I would feel like I was a piece of shit if I did anything less than that to myself. I would be embarrassed if I did things with money as the go-getter of anything, to be honest. But that's my own thing, right? Doesn't mean it's everybody's. I know I was going to show something here. There was I think it was this. I think I'll just, can I share it from my screen? I think share screen. So there was, I guess I gotta share screen, not, oh yeah, I guess. Oh no, it's in my window, right? Come on now. Where are you? Where are you, Facebook? I think there, okay, there it is. And I can't, how the heck did it just switch on me? Hold on. I'm on this page. No. Why does it, where did it go, Sharmain? It was, okay, here, hold on.
Just one sec. I'm reading a group chat here. There might be an update. Just one sec. You do what you're doing and
Okay. One sec, guys. One sec. So obviously, like I said, the father's name is Cody Sullivan. So Daphne Ann Sullivan had made this post. These are my brother's grandkids. If you have any information on their whereabouts, please contact the authorities. That was on May 4th. Some busybody, nosy person said, "And who is your brother?" And Daphne answered back and said, "Jimmy Sullivan." So apparently, again, the Sullivans from the dad's side, because again, there wasn't really no information about the bio dad in a sense. Did you send me something? One sec.
yeah, I don't believe it though.
Okay, let me take a look. I'll put it up. Might be true, might not be. This was what, 14 minutes ago, Sharmain, or was that 14 minutes ago from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't believe it though.
Okay. Take this with a grain of salt. The kids were found. Teary face, teary face, teary face. News will not update until the morning. God bless those kids. So, Sharmain, why do you say that you don't believe it? Or you're unlikely to believe this?
Just because she posted it with no receipts. How would she know?
Okay, well, let's ask chat as well. So who's ever in chat right now, okay, just by reading this post, it's in Ask Nova Scotia, anything goes. The kids were found. News will not update till the morning. God bless those kids. How many out there believe this to be a true post or a false post? Sharmain, I'm going to go with true post.
I mean, we can always hope, but.
Well, no, because there's teary faces. So that means the kids were found, but not alive, obviously.
But they're smiling teary tear emojis though.
Oh,
So
yeah, the smiling tears. I know. Sometimes I go to go click that one myself, and then I realize draw adjustment. Hold on. Tell me what you guys think in chat.
I don't think. I mean, I hope, but I don't.
Give me 1 sec.
I don't trust anything, guys.
I know. I want to see what chat thinks about this. I think that it's a strong possibility. It's in a group chat, it looks like, right, Sharmain? Facebook group chat, Ask Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you be criminally charged? I don't know.
Group chat. Is it saying anything underneath of it more so, like about anything like that they were found in the woods or
Nothing. Nothing. People are just attacking her for posting it. In the group where apparently some of their family members are in here and they don't even know yet. The police aren't releasing any information. So why is she posting stuff like that? And who is she anyways? And
right, but
not
we all know.
So
Well, we all kind of know too how this goes, right? Like at the end of the day, somebody has to have their 15 minutes of fame to either be a loser or be accurate, and put it out there as if they're doing a big favor. But we don't know. Maybe there's truth to it. Maybe in the morning there will be an update. Maybe the family has heard, and that's why it's been posted, because somebody said that somebody said that somebody said, and then someone posts this. So it's only because, like yourself, right, and me too. But you usually need some receipts to go with it. Doesn't mean that something's not true, but it's just sometimes hard to believe because people are always looking for, well, we didn't hear it on the news. We didn't hear any update. But with that being said, if there's relatives, family that knows, and then they tell somebody, and then that person comes in, but this person literally has their name. It's not like a anonymous participant. It's Leona Hardington Campbell. I don't know. I feel like this could be. We'll see, but I don't know why, but I want to think that this person's not a big douche, and that there's possibly truth to this, and that an update might come out tomorrow. And if it is a bunch of bullshit, then they're a big piece of douche and deserve to have every ounce of karma that comes their way. You don't fuck with cats. You don't fuck with children. You don't fuck with old people. You just don't fuck with people in general. It's not the way to be a good person in life.
So here's another one that says, so I don't know how true it is, but I seen on another group something about the porch and a post by a firefighter saying that they are no longer with us. I don't know. I say we put it away, and then, I mean, if there's a major update, you want to come back on tomorrow or whatever, depending on how you feel.
Oh no, I mean, if there's a break in the case, and I'm awake because I'm a night owl. If not, we'll still do a live on it regardless. If there's a major update to this case. These cases are so heavy-hearted, regardless of this. Let's put the kids' faces up there, actually. Let's add this to stage. I'd rather look at and see some beautiful faces, but just the fact that they're even on a poster. I just, honestly, Sharmain, I have such a hard time. My heart just conflicts with these cases. I love bringing awareness, but I can't stand knowing that something would have happened to these children, or Sebastian, you know, or Maddie Soto, the ones that we do know about. Or look at little Montgomery. What's her name there?
Harmony.
What is
Harmony.
it? Harmony.
Harmony.
Yeah. Harmony Montgomery,
Still
right?
haven't found her.
You just look
Still
at,
haven't found her.
I mean, look at Elijah Vu, you know. Oh my goodness. I just can't make sense of anything happening to children at all. All I see is just there was so much life for them to live. And you know, children, they're just having fun. They're just, you know, playing outside, even if it's a big shit shack of a yard. Children will make, you know, games out of jumping on a mattress or this or that, stuff like that.
I'm not trying to rush you, but are you going to be a few more minutes? I'm going to run for a few minutes. Are you going to be here for a while?
Oh, you know what? No, you know what? Let's call it a night. It's 9:00. You know, we've been on for 3.5 hours. I know I could sit here longer if I wanted to and stuff like that, but at the end of the night, I got, you know, I just want to go chill and relax and, you know, and go see the husband, eat my dinner that's gotten cold, and stuff like that. So let's call it a night, you guys. And we'll see what happens with that, if that was false news or true news. I will just see what happens. Other than that, regardless, Lily and Jack, prayers on a wishful, very wishful hope. I hope that you're still alive, but I don't. I'm sorry, I just don't feel it. I don't. So we'll see what happens with this case. So thank you, Miss Dog Lover, for the super chat of $4.99 earlier and your 32 months being loyal. Same with you there, Sharmain, 29 months. And all you guys that mostly are in here are typical It's a Crime and Shame family members. So thank you, Mark, and thank you, Melissa, and Sharon Parker, and everybody else, True Crime Housewife, and everyone else that was in here, Lacey, etc., Shirley. I am a real ginger. I got a ginger freaking niece, and she's a real ginger too. But anyway, we thank you all for joining us, and we will be back tomorrow if there's an update in the case for sure. Okay, guys? So with that being said, Sharmain, anything on your way out?
Oh. No, just take care. Have a good night, and we'll make sure to update everybody when something happens.
Mm-hmm. And I'll quickly just show it one more time first. So, of course, this is Lily and Jack, but I just want to quickly show on our way out, Sebastian Rogers. Also, Sebastian Rogers missing for over a year. Again, don't know what happened. Basically, Houdini'd from his home, but we know that that's not true. Something happened to Sebastian. Sebastian's either alive or not alive, one of the two. Either which way, you know, I'm praying for Seth that he is alive, but I'm also praying that some answers come one way or the other regardless, because we have to still always be realistic about these type of cases. But in saying that, you guys, like I said, if there's an update tomorrow, we'll do a live. If not, probably won't be doing a live. You guys take care. Thanks, Sharmain. Thank you for spending 2.5 hours. Please hit the like button. Keep the awareness for these cases out there, of course. And yeah, God bless. Okay, guys. Bless, bless, bless.
Night.
Yeah. Good night. Good night, night. And Sunny, good to see you again. Thanks, Shirley. Yeah, no. Can't lose me. Okay, I'm going to play the outro. Just got to find it. Give me a second. Where are we, outro? Rusty as heck all of a sudden, eh? Here comes.
The world is cold. We stand surrounded. within